Roar! Brother Flathead tore through the bushes by the side of the road, leapt onto the path, stood upright, and roaring, pounced toward Yi Feng. The Zhou family brothers initially thought Brother Flathead was charging at them, but upon closer inspection, they realized that their companion Yi Feng was the object of its enmity. This guy really relentless. Yi Feng swiftly stepped forward, easily dodging Brother Flathead's sharp claws, and then kicked it dozens of meters away, right into a deep pit. It fell into an underground river and was swept away, unable to return for quite some time. How is that possible? The Zhou family brothers stood dumbfounded. Yi Feng is just a mortal, isn't he? How could he possibly have such quick reflexes, effortlessly evading the attack of that demonic beast? What's even more terrifying is that Yi Feng actually kicked it dozens of meters away with a single kick. Is that the strength of a mortal? The two brothers of the Zhou family dropped their jaws, as if they had seen a ghost. True to form, our benefactor kicked away a high-rank demon soldier-level beast with one move. My two children training in your Misty sect will definitely stand out in the future, Ouyang Hao said, his face full of excitement and anticipation. My two nephews joined the Misty sect. Steward Zhou Jiaqian was flabbergasted. He had corresponded with Ouyang Hao earlier, saying that once they arrived at Whitefloat City, he would introduce his two nephews to a high-ranked sect. But Ouyang Hao had actually let these two nephews join the Misty sect. What, is that a problem? Ouyang Hao noticed that Zhou Jiaqian's expression was a bit off and asked curiously. Of course not, it's entirely up to my brother-in-law, said Steward Zhou Jiaqian, nodding repeatedly. If it had been before, he definitely wouldn't have been happy about his nephews joining a low-ranked sect like Misty sect. But over the last few days, Misty sect's reputation had grown more and more. Especially after watching Yi Feng effortlessly deal with Brother Flathead, Zhou Jiaqian's view of Misty sect had completely changed. His nephews joining here didn't seem any worse than them entering a high-ranked sect. Let's not talk about that for now. Sect Master Yi saved our Ouyang family, so he should be invited into the city for a feast as thanks, said Ouyang Hao as he patted his chest with a I'm treating stance. There's no need for a feast. I need to first take them back to the sect for registration, Yi Feng said, pointing at Ouyang Feng and Ouyang Yu looking somewhat anxious. Seeing that the assessment period task was about to be completed, where would he have time for a feast? It would be more prudent to first register their information and receive the newcomer's gift package. How about this, Sect Master Yi? You first take the two nephews back to Misty Peak for registration, and I will escort my brother-in-law back to the city. Tonight, I will host a banquet on behalf of the Zhou family for the entire Misty sect. Someone will come to fetch your sect's members this afternoon, suggested Steward Zhou Jiaqian, offering a compromise. I have no problem with that. Since it was in the evening and there was no time conflict, Yi Feng readily agreed. All right then, nodded Ouyang Hao. In that case, I shall take my leave first, said Yi Feng, bowing to everyone, then leaped onto the breeze-riding sword released by Mo Ying, taking Ouyang Feng and Ouyang Yu with him as they soared into the sky, quickly vanishing from sight. Brother-in-law, let's head back to the city. Big Sis has been fretful these past few days, wanting to see you, said Zhou Jiaqian. First, tend to the wounded and then we'll set off. Ouyang Hao, considerate of his subordinates, ordered a brief respite on the spot before embarking. Atop Misty Peak, Li Jiao stood on the edge of the cliff, looking out expectantly. Seeing Yi Feng and Mo Ying return, her eyes lit up and she asked curiously, Sect Master Uncle, you've finally returned. Who are these two little brothers and little sister? Yi Feng spoke happily. These are Ouyang Feng and Ouyang Yu. From now on, they will be the 10th and 11th disciples of our sect. He hastily pulled the siblings to the sect leader's great hall, took out the book of names, and registered them with the utmost speed. As the sect leader's seal was stamped down, a strange sensation washed over his heart. Ding received registered disciple Ouyang Feng, lower grade spiritual roots, currently without cultivation. Ding received registered disciple Ouyang Yu, lower grade spiritual roots, currently without cultivation. The system's promotion sound chimed in. Yi Feng found that the progress bar for the assessment period task rose to 99%, but did not reach 100%. Just as he was at his wit's end, he heard the system's voice again. Congratulations to the host for recruiting 10 disciples within 7 days, including 3 outer sect disciples and 7 registered disciples, with the highest cultivation among them having reached the 7th layer of Qi refinement, exceeding the task requirements. As the voice faded, the progress bar instantly hit 100%. Congratulations to the host for completing the assessment period task. The system is now permanently bound and cannot be changed. Ding, identity updated. Congratulations to the host for becoming the owner of the strongest sect leader system. The newbie gift pack will now be settled. And since the host has exceeded the task requirements, the quality of the gift pack has been improved. Please check the rewards carefully. As the system's voice sounded again, Yifeng was pleasantly surprised to find several lines of light blue text appearing before his eyes. Lower grade cultivation chi pills times 10, sect storage space times 10 cubic meters. First grade spell, all-dimensional spiritual perception, auxiliary cultivation method, the second chi C upper volume. Lower grade spiritual artifact, the spirit origin clock, a total of 5 rewards. Yifeng became excited and said to the other disciples, "You guys show the 2 junior brothers and sisters around to get familiar with the surroundings. I have some matters to attend to." Having said that, he closed the door of the sect leader's great hall. After some exploration, Yifeng discovered that as soon as his consciousness touched those words in his line of sight, corresponding information immediately flowed to him. Lower grade cultivation chi pill, an elixir used to enhance cultivation, suitable for use in the chi refining realm. So it's an elixir for increasing one's cultivation, looks to be quite good. Yifeng was somewhat pleased. In the Shenzhou continent, elixirs and cultivation levels corresponded to each other, and they were named Chi Pill, Origin Pill, Spirit Pill, Divine Elixir, Void Pill, and Saint Pill, and each grade was further divided into lower grade, middle grade, upper grade, and supreme grade. Lower grade cultivation Chi Pills were the lowest grade elixir, but the price was not cheap, as one pill could sell for at least 5 lower grade spirit stones. Yifeng continued to read on. Sect storage space. System attached, absolutely hidden and secure. Items can be stored or retrieved at any time, with an initial space of 10 cubic meters. Seeing this, Yifeng realized he could connect with a completely enclosed dimensional space, which wasn't very large, with its length, width, and height measuring 2 meters, 2 meters, and 2.5 meters respectively, for a total volume of exactly 10 cubic meters. It seems this is the sect storage space, also commonly known as the system space, Yifeng said to himself. His consciousness peered into the sect storage space and found that it contained 10 thumb-sized white pills, clearly the lower-grade cultivation chi pills. Besides that, there were 2 ancient texts and an ancient bronze clock the size of a teacup. The rest must be the first-grade spell all-dimensional spiritual perception, the auxiliary cultivation method, the second chi C upper volume, and the lower-grade spiritual artifact, the spirit origin clock. Yifeng deduced quietly to himself. Suddenly, he widened his eyes, his focus entirely on the ancient book titled The Second Chi C Upper Volume. Wait a second. It's actually an auxiliary cultivation method, not a spell. I misread it just now, Yifeng gasped. If it truly were an auxiliary cultivation method, then the value of the newbie gift pack was frightening indeed. It was said that an auxiliary cultivation method started at a minimum of 1,000 lower-grade spirit stones, and were so valuable they were virtually impossible to buy. With an excited heart, Yifeng opened the introduction to the second Chi C upper volume. The string of text slowly unfolded before his eyes. Yifeng saw the introduction. The second Chi C upper volume, an auxiliary cultivation method created by a mysterious person. After cultivation, it creates an auxiliary Chi C above the original one, allowing the practitioner to store more spiritual energy than other cultivators of the same level. There was a long string of introduction following that, and Yifeng read every word until he finally rubbed his temples. It turns out to be an auxiliary cultivation method that increases capacity. It seems not very powerful. But having more spiritual energy storage allows casting more spells, sustaining longer in battle. Moreover, after cultivating the second Chi C, it doesn't make the cultivation bottleneck harder. Overall, this auxiliary cultivation method is pretty good. However, the second Chi C one of now is only the upper volume. Once cultivated, it will allow the second Chi C to expand to 1/3 of the capacity of my own Chi C, which is equivalent to a small increase in realm. Based on the introduction above, this auxiliary cultivation method is divided into upper, middle, and lower volumes. If cultivated to the lower volume, the capacity of the second Chi C can be equal to the original Chi C. In total, that would double the overall capacity of the Chi C, which is quite impressive. Yifeng digested this information, his eyes shining with anticipation to acquire the complete second Chi C to further expand his Chi C capacity. Next, Yi Feng looked at the spell called All-Dimensional Spiritual Perception. All-Dimensional Spiritual Perception, a first-grade spell related to perception. Once cultivated, it releases spiritual energy outward, like a spherical film expanding outwards, mapping the scenes encountered into the mind. The introduction to this spell wasn't too long, just a few hundred characters, which Yi Feng read swiftly. With the cultivation level of Qi refinement first grade when casting this spell, I can perceive everything within a radius of 10 meters, even through walls, which is quite remarkable. The higher the proficiency, the more detailed the perception. As for the range of perception, it can increase with the advancement of cultivation level. Yi Feng processed the introduction of this spell, thinking to himself that it was truly a premium product from the system. Ultimately, he focused his attention on the lower-grade spiritual artifact, the Spirit Origin Clock, with a mere thought. The Spirit Origin Clock appeared in the palm of Yi Feng. It looked ancient, as if made from bronze, only as tall as a teacup and not very heavy. Somehow, Yi Feng found he had formed a special connection with the Spirit Origin Clock, as if he could control it at will, which felt very strange to him. Spirit Origin Clock, lower-grade spiritual artifact, can suppress any existence below the element-gathering realm. Engraved with a spirit-attracting formation, it can automatically absorb nature's spiritual energy to replenish its losses, bound to. Yi Feng note has the trustee function, where the bound user can temporarily designate a trustee to use this item. After digesting the information about the Spirit Origin Clock, Yi Feng was pleasantly surprised. He had always been troubled by his inability to use his cultivation, to the extent that he couldn't even use a flying sword. But now it was different. Even if he couldn't wield his own cultivation, he could still activate the Spirit Origin Clock. Following that, Yi Feng began to familiarize himself with operating this lower-grade spiritual artifact. Outside the sect leader's great hall, Shilei was walking through the grounds of the Misty Sect with Aoyang Feng and Aoyang Yu, introducing the people and things around them, and the group gradually became more familiar. At this moment, 10 miles away, Jia Lian and Jia Yulan left the eastern city gate. "My daughter, today I will thoroughly inspect the Misty Sect. If it does not satisfy me, you must withdraw," Jia Lian spoke sternly. He took out a bamboo leaf-shaped spiritual artifact from his robe and placed it on the ground. It quickly swelled into a huge bamboo leaf 1 meter wide and 7 meters long, floating half a foot above the ground. "It's the lower-grade flying spirit artifact, bamboo leaf boat. Are these people from the Jia family who are cultivators? It is said that the bamboo leaf boat costs 150 lower-grade spirit stones, beyond the means of common folks. Although it's a bit green, I would like to try it out too." Under the admiring gazes of onlookers, Jia Lian, along with Jia Yulan, Xia He, and Qiu Ju, boarded the bamboo leaf boat and smoothly flew toward Misty Peak. Misty Peak. Yi Feng opened the door to the sect leader's great hall. He had learned how to use the Spirit Origin Clock, and at the same time absorbed the cultivation methods of the second Qi Si upper volume and all-dimensional spiritual perception. As for the cultivation techniques and spells that were system rewards, he could understand them at first glance, but was useless when he tried to learn them. Even so, with the knowledge in his mind, teaching his sect's disciples to cultivate posed no difficulty whatsoever. Clap, clap, clap. Yi Feng stood in the courtyard, clapped his hands, and summoned all the disciples of the sect. Second Qi Si is an auxiliary cultivation method, too important to teach now, must wait until the sect is stronger, otherwise it could bring about a calamity that would lead to the sect's destruction. Whereas all-dimensional spiritual perception is just a first-grade spell, which could be directly taught to the disciples without worrying about safety. "Sect Master Uncle, what's the matter?" Li Jiao was the first to run out, followed closely by the other disciples, curiously looking at Yi Feng. "I have here." Yi Feng was just about to take out the ancient book that recorded all-dimensional spiritual perception, when he heard a strong and deep voice coming from outside. "Sect Master Yi, I am Jia Lian, head of the Jia family, coming to pay a visit with my daughter Jia Yulan." No sooner had the voice fallen than Yi Feng saw a huge bamboo leaf descend from the sky and land on the empty space outside the gate. "Even Jia Yulan's father has come?" Yi Feng was surprised and led the disciples out the gate, seeing the 4 people standing outside. "This must be Sect Master Yi, truly young and talented. I am Yulan's father, Jia Lian." Jia Lian complimented Yi Feng upon seeing him, but in his heart he secretly thought, "Yi Feng is just as the rumors say, merely a mortal. It seems my daughter cannot stay here, lest it delay her future." "So you are the head of the Jia family. What an honor to meet you." Yi Feng's response was somewhat perfunctory. It wasn't that he had anything against Jia Lian, but he heard the familiar roar of defiance coming up the mountain, which gave him a faint sense of pain. Brother Flathead had come again to take a beating. A high-rank demon soldier-level demon beast has descended. Jia Lian felt a powerful demonic aura approaching from behind and immediately conjured a hemispherical shield with a diameter of 3 meters around him, protecting himself and Jia Yulan, Zia He, and Qiu Ju. Given the strength of Misty Sect, they definitely can't beat a high-rank demon soldier-level beast. Soon, Yi Feng will surely beg for my help. Then I can use this as an excuse to say that Misty Sect can't ensure my daughter's safety and have her leave Misty Sect. In the span of a few breaths, Jia Lian had already concocted a clever plan. The next moment Brother Flathead arrived. It was the same old move, standing upright, charging at Yi Feng with bared fangs and claws. Where it passed, the knee-high grass was pressed down by the powerful demonic aura, showing how furious Brother Flathead was. Such a strong demonic aura! Jia Lian's eyes flickered, feeling that he could only go 50-50 against Brother Flathead. He was somewhat worried and was about to tell Yi Feng to flee. But when he turned around, Jia Lian saw Yi Feng and the disciples of Misty Sect looking impatient, not afraid in the slightest. What kind of expression is that? Jia Lian was confused. Yi Feng saw the look on Jia Lian's face and his actions and thought he was afraid, so he calmly said, "Head of the Jia family, no need to worry, this demon beast is not strong, I can kick it away with 1 foot." With that, Yi Feng stepped forward and delivered a kick. Brother Flathead rolled down the mountain for the nth time, and no one knew if he would come back like Grey Wolf next time. "This!" Jia Lian watched the scene, and his eyes nearly popped out, his hand forming gestures trembling. After kicking the pitiful Brother Flathead down the mountain, Yi Feng turned around, a sunny expression on his face as he looked at Jia Lian and said, "It's all settled now. The Jia family head can retract the shield, keeping it up all the time. What a waste of spiritual power." Upon hearing this, Jia Lian's mouth twitched. It seemed his action of deploying the shield was mistaken by Yi Feng for fear, which was embarrassingly humiliating. But recalling how Yi Feng dealt with Brother Flathead, Jia Lian's complexion changed abruptly, and he thought to himself. Yi Feng's movements seemed effortless, yet he precisely avoided the demonic beast's attack, his physique so strong he could crush a high-rank demon soldier, truly terrifying. It turns out, I was the one who misjudged. It seems that my daughter staying in the Misty Sect is also a very good choice. With that thought, Jia Lian was secretly relieved that he hadn't yet mentioned anything about his daughter leaving the Misty Sect. As long as he didn't say it, it was as if the matter didn't exist. Therefore, Jia Lian immediately withdrew the shield and cupped his hands towards Yi Feng, saying, "Sect Master Yi is indeed as powerful as the rumors say. It's a fortunate thing for my daughter to have joined the Misty Sect." Upon hearing this, Jia Yulan blinked with an odd expression and said, "Dad, I remember before coming here you were telling me to leave the Misty Sect." Jia Lian glared and said, "Nonsense." Perhaps feeling somewhat guilty, Jia Lian pointed towards White Float City and said, "It was your grandfather who said that. In truth, as a father, I've always supported your joining the Misty Sect. Otherwise, why would I personally come to visit today?" "What?" Jia Yulan was stunned by Jia Lian's buck-passing tactic and didn't know what to say for a moment. Seeing the father and daughter staring at each other with wide eyes, Yi Feng could guess the reason, but he just smiled and didn't expose it. "Now that everyone's here, let's enter and have a chat," Yi Feng suddenly spoke up. Seizing the opportunity, Jia Lian no longer contended with Jia Yulan and followed the flow into the Misty Sect. Bang! Although the gate had been kicked to ruins, some planks were still connected to the frame. Just as Jia Lian stepped over the threshold, a rotten plank happened to fall down, hitting him on the head. Despite being at the 9th level of Qi refinement and having a strong physique, Jia Lian wasn't hurt but ended up covered in dust. This gate? Only then did Jia Lian realize that the grand entrance to the Misty Sect was gone, and even the courtyard inside was dilapidated, comparable to a broken-down roadside temple. Yi Feng's face filled with embarrassment and he coughed and said, "The Jia family head need not worry these past few days. I've been busy recruiting new disciples. In time, the courtyard will be renovated, ensuring every disciple has their own bedroom. It's no trouble at all. The harsher the environment, the better to temper one's will. My daughter training here will surely accelerate her cultivation progress." Jia Lian spoke against his conscience. If it weren't for Yi Feng demonstrating his astonishing power, Jia Lian would have run off with Jia Yulan without a second word upon seeing such rundown surroundings. "Does your sect have a water source at the mountaintop?" Jia Lian asked at this moment. "The Jia family head need not worry. We do have a water source here, and it flows throughout the year." Yifeng led the group around the sect leader's great hall to the backyard. In the center, there was a rock several meters high with a spring eye right below, forming a pond-like body of water about a foot deep, conveniently providing water. As for the surroundings, they were encircled by dilapidated thatched huts, except for one that was a combination kitchen and latrine. The rest served as the disciples' bedrooms. This environment, Jia Lian was at a loss for words. In his view, the Misty Sect's ramshackle buildings weren't much different from an average farmer's courtyard. At most, the difference was that a farmer's courtyard is on flat ground, while the Misty Sect is located at the mountaintop. The water is indeed cool and sweet, but I have no idea where it comes from. Jia Lian scooped up some water from the spring's eye with his hands and took a sip, finding it quite satisfactory, a small consolation. Yifeng glanced at the time and noticed it was almost noon. He then said, "It's getting late. Let's all sit down and have a meal." "Oh, there's really no need." Jia Lian shook his head repeatedly. He was accustomed to exotic delicacies. Even the greens he ate were soaked in spiritual spring water. How could he possibly enjoy the simple meals of the Misty Sect? But then Jia Lian had a second thought, changed his mind, and said, "Still, let's have a taste." After all, just one bite should be swallowable. Jia Lian silently mused. Before long, Li Jiao had finished preparing the meal, setting a table in the sect leader's great hall. "Huh, this tastes pretty good." Jia Lian took a bite of the greens and found that they were not bad, perhaps because they were washed with the water from the backyard spring. "The environment here is a bit lacking, but the food is all right. It won't be too hard for my daughter to stay here. The main thing is, she can learn skills from Sect Master Yi," Jia Lian thought to himself. The thought that Yifeng could even teach an incomplete, falling blooms in profusion spell made Jia Lian quite eager. He asked, "Sect Master Yi, I heard you could teach the incomplete second-grade spell, falling blooms in profusion. Could you perhaps teach me as well?" Seeing Yifeng's hesitation, Jia Lian switched to money-spending mode and said, "It won't be a free lesson. As long as Sect Master Yi teaches me, the Jia family will cover the renovation costs for the Misty Sect." Jia Lian had already estimated that renovating the Misty Sect would cost about 10 lower-grade spirit stones. Even if it were several times more, the Jia family could afford it. Yifeng and all the disciples looked at Jia Lian in surprise. Even Jia Yulan found it unbelievable. After some thought, Yifeng said, "There's no need for the Jia family head to spend the money, but I do have one condition. Please, speak freely. I want to be able to teach the falling blooms in profusion spell to the disciples of the Misty Sect as well." Jia Lian hesitated for a moment, then said, "To tell you the truth, although falling blooms in profusion is a spell passed down by our Jia family, it is an incomplete version and cannot be practiced to the point of minor achievement. Sect Master Yi, with your extraordinary insight, has deduced the remaining parts, so of course you can teach it freely. Moreover, for this I owe you my thanks." "I see." Yifeng showed a look of sudden realization. He had asked this only because he didn't want the disciples of the Misty Sect to be targeted by members of the Jia family when they used falling blooms in profusion in the future. Now that even the head of the Jia family felt it was fine, Yifeng had no concerns. After the meal, Yifeng drew a new diagram of the meridian circulation and pointed at several areas, saying, "Yesterday was too hasty. I missed a few key points. Now that they have been filled in, follow this for cultivation, and reaching major achievement won't be a problem, but to reach perfection, you'll still need to wait for me to ponder on it further." Yifeng didn't want to reveal too much, so he didn't draw it all out. "Thank you, Sect Master Yi. Tomorrow I will send craftsmen to the Misty Sect to assist you with the renovation. Farewell." Having obtained a more complete meridian circulation diagram, Jia Lian lost all interest in lingering for food. He stepped onto his bamboo leaf boat, and in the blink of an eye, he was out of sight. "Dad!" Jia Yulan rolled her eyes in frustration as Jia Lian simply ran off, but she soon cheered up, because at last she could officially stay and cultivate at the Misty Sect. Yifeng, on the other hand, was looking at the bamboo leaf boat with a face full of envy. "This is a lower-grade flying spirit artifact bamboo leaf boat, priced at 150 lower-grade spirit stones," Mo Ying said out of the blue, seeing the expression on Yifeng's face. "That expensive?" Yifeng's eyes widened in shock. The price for a lower-grade spiritual artifact is over 100 spirit stones and isn't cheap, Mo Ying explained. Upon hearing this, Yifeng looked at Mo Ying as if he had discovered a new world, widening his eyes in surprise. He remembered that when Mo Ying had joined the Misty sect, she first paid 100 lower-grade spirit stones as the beginner's fee. Moreover, Mo Ying also had a lower-grade spiritual artifact, the breeze-riding sword. She was quite wealthy. "Don't look at me, I'm broke now." How could Mo Ying not guess what Yifeng was thinking? She crossed her arms, turned around, and jumped onto the roof to start cultivating. "Who was that just now?" At that moment, Jia Yulan pointed to the rooftop and asked. "Her name is Mo Ying. She is your fourth senior sister," Yifeng said, pointing at the others, introducing them one by one. Before long, Jia Yulan, Zia He, and Qiu Ju had started to integrate into the Misty sect. The current Misty sect was too rundown, and although the peak had a total area of 10 acres, the built area was relatively small and couldn't accommodate that many people. Therefore, the 6 female disciples, Jia Yulan, Zia He, Qiu Ju, Mo Ying, Li Jiaojiao, and Ouyang Yu, had to squeeze in together for the time being. As for Shilei, Hu Yunji, Long Tianxing, and Ouyang Feng, even though they were also squished into one room, it was much more spacious. "It looks like I need to finish the design drawing today, replan the sect, and leave some vacant land." Thinking this, Yifeng jumped onto the rooftop. Mo Ying was coincidentally sitting cross-legged there and, startled by the sudden presence of someone beside her, instantly drew her sword. "What are you doing?" Yifeng asked innocently, hearing the grating sound of the sword being drawn and looking at Mo Ying, as well as the breeze-riding sword she was holding. Realizing that she had overreacted, Mo Ying's face turned embarrassed, but thankfully the black veil hid it, and Yifeng couldn't see. She quickly said, "I am getting ready to practice sword techniques." "That's perfect, take me for a ride," Yifeng pointed down. "I am planning to draw a map of the peak and replan a bit. I need to rise above to see the terrain." "Oh." Mo Ying tossed her sword, making it levitate above the rooftop, and brought Yifeng aboard, gradually flying to a spot several dozen meters above the peak. "Truly worthy of the sword control technique?" Long Tianxing, standing in the courtyard, looked up at Yifeng and Mo Ying with envy. "This is indeed the sword control technique, and it's a major achievement." Jia Yulan came over, looking at the two in the sky, and said softly, "Seventh junior sister, can I learn it?" Long Tianxing asked with hope. Upon hearing this title, Jia Yulan nearly laughed out loud. "I joined the sect after you. You should call me junior sister." Long Tianxing scratched his head, thinking to himself that she was several years older than him. How could he dare call her junior sister? "Sure, junior sister." Although Long Tianxing was reluctant, he was honest and added, "Then how should I cultivate the sword control technique?" Jia Yulan, looking at the sky, explained. "Actually, the sword control technique is just a general term. As long as you cultivate any spell related to swords, you can fly with a sword, but it consumes a lot of spiritual energy." Long Tianxing showed a sudden realization and asked, "What if I don't have the relevant spells or a flying sword?" "Then you're out of luck," Jia Yulan said. "But what if I want to fly?" Long Tianxing asked. Jia Yulan smiled sweetly. "There are many ways to fly aside from the sword control technique. You can also ride on flying spirit artifacts or use a flight spell." As she said this, Jia Yulan made hand seals and cast a nearly major achievement, falling petals in profusion, causing countless beautiful pink petals to appear, rapidly forming into a bird with a 2-meter wingspan. Jia Yulan hopped onto the bird's back and, flashing Long Tianxing a charming smile, said, "This is a flight spell. However, it drains a lot of spiritual power, so it's only suitable for short-distance flight." As soon as she finished speaking, she had already flown up into the sky. "So awesome!" Long Tianxing watched Jia Yulan soaring into the sky, her blue pupils filled with envy. In midair, Yifeng was holding a piece of paper and a pen, carefully drawing a map of the top of Misty Peak. His movements were fast. By the time Jia Yulan reached midair, he had already finished drawing. Yifeng was startled to see Jia Yulan high in the air and loudly reminded her, "Your falling blooms in profusion spell isn't yet fully mastered. There are flaws. Although you can fly, it consumes spiritual energy very quickly. It's too dangerous high up there. Come back quickly." Jia Yulan laughed and said, "No problem, I can hold on." Suddenly, a gust of wind blew from a distance. The map in Yifeng's hands was torn by the wind. Half of it was left in his hands, while the other half flew away into the distance. "Sect leader, don't worry, I'll get it back for you." Jia Yulan controlled the petal bird to chase after it, and it wasn't long before she caught the other half of the map and was about to return. But at that moment, Mo Ying sensed a demonic aura approaching from the sky and exclaimed in alarm, "Danger!" Just as her voice fell, Mo Ying spotted a giant eagle with a wingspan of 5 meters flapping towards them. She used her spirit eyes and exclaimed in surprise, "It's a middle-rank demon soldier-level iron claw dragon eagle. Hurry back to the peak." But her warning was already too late. The iron claw dragon eagle closed the distance to Jia Yulan in an instant. Its huge and sharp claws easily tore through the petal bird. At the same time, the burst of energy caused Jia Yulan to whimper, her mouth bleeding from the impact. She couldn't continue to use falling blooms in profusion, and her figure, uncontrollable, began to fall from a height of over 700 meters. "Quick, save her!" Yifeng screamed. Mo Ying, without a word, moved quickly. She used her flying sword to carry Yifeng, speeding through the sky towards Jia Yulan. "Ah, this is bad!" Long Tianxing saw this scene and let out a shriek. "It's the Iron Claw Dragon Eagle!" Shilei, Hu Yunji, and the other disciples also burst out of their rooms just in time to see the iron-clawed dragon eagle return, diving towards Jia Yulan. Xia He Qiu Ju and the others had already been frightened into a panic, their eyes filled with worry and fear. "Monster, how dare you attack a disciple of the Misty Sect?" Yifeng patted Mo Ying's shoulder, jumped from the breeze-riding sword, mounted the back of the iron-clawed dragon eagle and punched it, sending it howling in pain and falling towards the ground. "Save Jia Yulan first," Yifeng shouted, stopping Mo Ying, who was about to rush to his aid. Hearing this, Mo Ying decisively sped up, caught the falling Jia Yulan, and turned back, only to see that Yifeng had already grabbed onto the neck of the iron-clawed dragon eagle, plummeting down with it. "Sect leader, be careful!" The disciples, seeing this ordeal, felt their hearts leap to their throats. Falling from such a height could be fatal unless one was as lucky as Brother Flathead. Fourth senior sister quickly saved the sect leader. Jia Yulan coughed up a mouthful of blood, frantically speaking to Mo Ying. At this moment, the wind was very strong. Mo Ying's veil was lifted by the wind, revealing a face as if corroded by poison fumes, giving Jia Yulan quite a shock. Although Mo Ying heard the exclamations beside her, she ignored them, instead speeding up her drop and chasing after Yifeng, who was falling rapidly with the iron-clawed dragon eagle. "Don't worry about me." Yifeng firmly gripped the iron-clawed dragon eagle's neck with his legs and found that he had actually knocked the creature unconscious with a single punch, which was why it couldn't keep flying. "Wake up!" Yifeng pried open the iron-clawed dragon eagle's eyelids and blew into its eyes repeatedly, trying to wake it up. Moments later, the iron-clawed dragon eagle realized it was plummeting towards the ground at a high speed. Its pupils dilated in shock, and it began to flap its wings frantically, taking to the skies once more. Hugh, the disciples all breathed a sigh of relief at the sight. Although they had witnessed Yifeng's formidable strength, they couldn't guarantee that he would come out unscathed if he fell from such a height. However, they noticed another problem. "Look, the iron-clawed dragon eagle is flying away from Whitefloat City. If it reaches those dangerous areas, we could encounter demon generals as powerful as those in the element gathering realm." Shilei pointed towards the distant skies, his face filled with concern. "Junior sister Mo Ying has gone after it. She should make it in time." Hu Yunji pointed to the sky, and as everyone looked, they saw Mo Ying with Jia Yulan, still in shock, flying after the iron-clawed dragon eagle on her sword at increased speed. At that moment, Yifeng clamped his legs tighter, and the iron-clawed dragon eagle in pain flew even faster. "Mo Ying, take Jia Yulan back!" Without panicking, Yifeng called back to Mo Ying, who was chasing them, and then stopped worrying about her. Mo Ying, watching Yifeng's actions, guessed what he had in mind and turned direction to fly towards the peak of Misty Peak. "Fourth senior sister, aren't we going to save Sect Master?" Jia Yulan asked worriedly. "He wants to tame the iron-clawed dragon eagle." Upon saying this, Mo Ying remained silent and quickly brought Jia Yulan to the peak of Misty Peak. "What about Sect Master?" Seeing that Mo Ying had returned but didn't set off again, the other disciples grew anxious. "He should be fine," Mo Ying murmured. When Yifeng had told her to return, she clearly saw the calmness in his eyes, indicating he was quite confident, which is why she felt safe returning to Misty Peak. At that moment, high up in the sky, Yifeng rode on the back of the iron-clawed dragon eagle, using one hand to grab its head as if it were a rudder, steering it in whatever direction he wanted to go. His strength was so immense that even the iron-clawed dragon eagle couldn't resist and had to obediently comply. If it didn't, Yifeng would tap on the eagle's head with his finger, sending a buzzing through its skull, compelling it to obey. The mountain peaks nearby were dotted with the buildings of other lower-rank sects. Disciples from these sects looked up just in time to see the iron-clawed dragon eagle pass overhead and were startled, fearing that their sects were about to face a calamity. But to their astonishment, they saw a somewhat familiar young man riding on the back of the iron-clawed dragon eagle. It's Sect Master Yi from the Misty Sect. Sect Master Yi is riding an iron-clawed dragon eagle. Sect Master Yi has tamed an iron-clawed dragon eagle and is now flying over our sect. Is he showing off? He seems a bit anxious. Could he be riding the iron-clawed dragon eagle to a blind date? Wait, don't you think it's strange? How could Sect Master Yi with no cultivation level possibly ride an iron-clawed dragon eagle? He must be Sect Master Yi's twin brother. The disciples from various sects gossiped and spread different versions of the story, each more outrageous than the last. Yi Feng was unaware of the other disciples' shock. At that moment, he had the iron-clawed dragon eagle completely subdued. As soon as it attempted to rebel, Yi Feng would pull out a teacup-sized lower-grade spiritual artifact, the Spirit Origin Clock. Its formidable aura frightened the iron-clawed dragon eagle so much that it dared not act rashly. Screech! After circling in the high sky for half an hour, the iron-clawed dragon eagle finally submitted completely, realizing it couldn't escape and emitting a cry that symbolized submission. Go there, then stop, Yi Feng pointed at Misty Peak and said. The iron-clawed dragon eagle couldn't understand human language but seemed to roughly understand Yi Feng's gesture and landed on Misty Peak. The strong wind kicked up thick dust. But the disciples paid no mind to their stinging eyes and quickly ran over, to find the iron-clawed dragon eagle already compliant, which was utterly astonishing to them. Screech! The iron-clawed dragon eagle landed on the ground, burying its head in the grass, and a fist-sized virtual image of the iron-clawed dragon eagle appeared above its head, aqua-colored with a hint of green. Huo Yunji pointed at the tiny virtual image of the iron-clawed dragon eagle and explained, worried that Yi Feng wouldn't know. Sect Master Uncle, the iron-clawed dragon eagle has submitted. Just drip your blood on its soul body, and you will be able to bond with it permanently. Hearing this, Yi Feng's eyes lit up. If Huo Yunji hadn't said anything, he really wouldn't have known such a method to bond existed. Give me a dagger. Yi Feng stretched out his hand. Sect leader, I have one. Jia Yulan stepped forward, running her slender hand over the gemstone on her waist and gripped a sharp dagger, handing it to Yi Feng. It's a lower-grade spiritual artifact storage belt. The disciples looked on enviously. Thanks. Yi Feng took the dagger and sliced across the pad of his finger, feeling only a prick of pain, but leaving only a white mark. Sect leader's skin is too tough. Ordinary mundane blades can't cut through. Saw Mo Ying step forward, holding the glowing breeze-riding sword, and quickly sliced across the tip of Yi Feng's finger. Then Yi Feng, akin to squeezing toothpaste, finally eked out a drop of fresh blood, which fell onto the soul body of the iron-clawed dragon eagle. With a strange feeling washing over him, Yi Feng realized he had formed a special connection with the iron-clawed dragon eagle. No matter how far it ran, he could sense it faintly and even call it to him from a distance. Moreover, it seemed he could understand the meaning behind the iron-clawed dragon eagle's cries. So this is how a demonic beast is bonded. Yi Feng patted the iron-clawed dragon eagle's head, instructing it to retract its soul body. The iron-clawed dragon eagle reclaimed its majesty, folding its wings and standing over 3 meters tall with its head held high, like a statue full of grandeur. Just then, Little White Fox jumped down from Li Jiaojiao's shoulder and hopped in front of the iron-clawed dragon eagle, pointing at it with its chubby paw, then at itself, chattering away incomprehensibly. However, Yi Feng quickly received the iron-clawed dragon eagle's transmission and understood Little White Fox's meaning. I, Zyro Bai, am the boss of the demonic beasts here, and you, the new big dummy, can only be second in command. That was what Little White Fox was trying to convey. After sending this message to Yi Feng, the iron-clawed dragon eagle lifted its head, looking down on Little White Fox disdainfully as if saying, "Where did this little squirt come from? Go play in the mud." This action immediately set Little White Fox on edge, baring its teeth and hopping furiously in place. Roar! At that moment, the persistent Brother Flathead came knocking once more. Upon hearing this, Little White Fox was scared into leaping back onto Li Jiaojiao's shoulder, shivering with fear. Seeing this, the iron-clawed dragon eagle's face showed a human-like contempt as it looked toward Brother Flathead, who had just climbed to the peak and was rearing up, rushing toward everyone. Screech, the iron-clawed dragon eagle, saw that Brother Flathead was so small in size and assumed it would be easy to bully, immediately letting out a sharp cry and pounced. Their mighty silhouette seemed to say, "Everyone, no need to lift a finger. Let me, the iron-clawed dragon eagle, handle this poseur." The iron-clawed dragon eagle rushed forward. At this moment, Brother Flathead looked quite bedraggled, drenched, and appearing very weak, without emanating a powerful demonic aura. In the eyes of the iron-clawed dragon eagle, one swipe of its claw would be enough to take down 10 Brother Flatheads. But dreams are perfect. Reality is painful. As soon as the iron-clawed dragon eagle charged forward, it was sent flying by an angry Brother Flathead, losing who knows how many feathers and shrieking miserably midair. "That's what you get for messing around," Yifeng curled his lips, watching as Brother Flathead pounced toward him and calmly took out the Spirit Origin clock. With a ding sound, the Spirit Origin clock shone with emerald light, quickly expanding to 2 meters in height and easily enveloping Brother Flathead before shrinking to the size of a teacup and flying back into the palm of Yifeng's hand, where it quietly remained motionless. "It's a lower-grade spiritual artifact," Mo Ying revealed a look of astonishment. Everyone else also found it odd. How could Yifeng, appearing to have no cultivation, wield a spiritual artifact? Yifeng glanced at the Spirit Origin clock and discovered that Brother Flathead, trapped inside, had actually curled up into a ball, falling into a state of slumber. It would wake up only after being released. Yifeng thought to himself, "Truly a spiritual artifact from the system. Its effect is really good. Now that Brother Flathead is sealed, it might have some unexpected uses in the future." He turned back, looking at the shocked crowd, and explained, "This is our Misty Sect's treasured spiritual artifact, Spirit Origin Clock, a lower-grade spiritual artifact that can seal any being below the element-gathering realm. Of course, it was also left by the old sect leader," Yifeng added. He had already figured it out. In the future, whenever something inexplicable appeared, he would just say it was left by the old sect leader. After all, there's no evidence of the dead, and he could say whatever he wanted. "It turns out our Misty Sect is not poor after all," Shilei expressed his surprise. Hugh Yunji said thoughtfully, "Perhaps our Misty Sect only looks poor, but in fact, the old sect leader spent all the hard-earned spirit stones buying elixirs and spiritual artifacts." The others also felt that this was probably the case. At this time, Yifeng placed the Spirit Origin clock into the sect storage space, once again causing astonishment and attention among the crowd. "Actually, the sect leader brother also left me a storage spiritual artifact. It's just very concealed, you can't see it," Yifeng spoke with a nonchalant face. After hearing this, the disciples had strange expressions but chose to believe him. "Sect leader, here is the other half of the blueprint." Finally finding an opportunity, Jia Yulan took out the crumpled blueprint and respectfully handed it to Yifeng. Yifeng looked at her and cautioned, "Your falling blooms in profusion hasn't been mastered fully. Do not take risks in the future." Jia Yulan stuck her tongue out, almost as if talking to herself. "But if I hadn't encountered the iron-clawed dragon eagle with my spiritual power, I could have returned smoothly." Yifeng rolled his eyes and said, "All right, everyone disperse. We still have to attend the banquet at the Zhou family in White Float City tonight. Get ready." Yifeng waved his hand, dismissing the disciples. He went over to the iron-clawed dragon eagle and had a conversation with it, only then learning that the creature was close to fainting from hunger. It had mistakenly attacked the flying bird made of pink petals, thinking it was prey. Atop the sect leader's great hall, Mo Ying sat cross-legged by herself. "Fourth senior sister, thank you for today." Jia Yulan tiptoed along the ridge of the roof and sat down beside Mo Ying, softly expressing her gratitude. "We are all from the same sect. It's only natural to save you," Mo Ying replied while making sword gestures, not very interested in entertaining Jia Yulan's conversation. "Fourth senior sister, this ointment is very effective. Maybe it can help you," Jia Yulan said, taking a jade vial emitting a faint scent of medicinal herbs from her storage belt. Mo Ying gave her a glance, her voice cold. "Ordinary medicine won't cure my face." Jia Yulan lightly pressed her lips together and said, "Fourth senior sister, whatever formula you need, I can ask someone to help you find it. After all, you saved me, and I will definitely help you with anything I can." "I appreciate your kindness." Mo Ying hopped down from the roof and returned to her room to rest. No one noticed that when her back was turned to Jia Yulan, the corners of her mouth involuntarily lifted slightly, showing that she was indeed touched. In the blink of an eye, it was afternoon. Yifeng, riding on the back of the iron-clawed dragon eagle, circled around Misty Peak for a long time. hunting several wild boars in the nearby mountains to feed the iron-clawed dragon eagle, honing his beast-taming skills. At the same time, Yifeng also gave the iron-clawed dragon eagle a very affectionate name, Lao Tai. Lao Tai, let's go back, Yifeng said. Upon receiving the command, the iron-clawed dragon eagle quickly landed on the summit of Misty Peak. At that moment, it looked towards the distance and cried out, "Someone's coming!" Yifeng could interpret Lao Tai's intent, and looking in the direction of Whitefloat City, saw Steward Zhou Jiaqian sitting on a floating dark green bamboo raft, flying towards Misty Peak. It wasn't long before Zhou Jiaqian arrived nearby. Seeing the iron-clawed dragon eagle standing next to Yifeng, he widened his eyes in surprise. Zhou Jiaqian could tell that the iron-clawed dragon eagle had been tamed and became a flying mount for the Misty sect, and such a mount generally was possessed only by high-ranked sects, which made him envious. "Sect Master Yi, is this your sect's flying mount? It looks really majestic." Zhou Jiaqian parked his bamboo raft on the grass at the peak's top and asked with a look of amazement. "Yes, it is." Yifeng did not hide the fact. "It's no wonder your sect Master Yi being able to subdue such a rare flying mount. In the whole of Whitefloat City, such mounts are few and far between," Zhou Jiaqian praised. "You flatter me," Yifeng called out to the courtyard. "Disciples of the Misty sect, let's go, we're eating at the Zhou family." The disciples were already ready. They left the house, greeted Steward Zhou Jiaqian, and all stood on the lower-grade spirit artifact, flying bamboo raft. "Lao Tai, guard the house." Yifeng patted the iron-clawed dragon eagle and then jumped onto the flying bamboo raft. Although riding the iron-clawed dragon eagle into the city would be quite impressive, Yifeng did not want to show off just yet. Steward Zhou Jiaqian, noticing Jia Yulan, Zia He, Qiu Ju, and others, praised. As expected of Sect Master Yi, even managing to recruit a genius from the Jia family. "I am impressed." "Ha ha!" Yifeng just laughed, saying nothing. Whitefloat City Zhou family residence. This was an imposing mansion located next to a spacious street on the east side of the city. As Yifeng and his group arrived at the gate, they found that many people had already gathered there. "Dad, Mom!" As soon as Aoyang Feng and Aoyang Yu landed, they rushed towards their parents. "Feng, are you?" Next to Aoyang Hao, a woman dressed in mature and dignified clothes reached out and embraced Aoyang Feng and Aoyang Yu, her eyes already glistening with tears. In recent times, demonic creatures caused trouble. Zhou Shiyu had been constantly worried about her children. If it weren't for her two younger brothers having other tasks, she would have even wanted them to go to Beacon Fire City to fetch people. Fortunately, now all was safe and sound. "This must be Sect Master Yi. Thank you for saving our lives," Zhou Shiyu said, holding Aoyang Feng and Aoyang Yu and bowing to express her gratitude to Yifeng. "Lady Aoyang, you're too kind. I simply did what came naturally," Yifeng responded with a polite demeanor. At that moment, the tall and imposing Deputy Commander Zhou Jiakai approached. He had changed into his regular attire, giving the impression of a muscular and formidable man. "Sect Master Yi, please take a seat." Deputy Commander Zhou Jiakai stood beside the main entrance, gesturing with his hand towards the inside of the house. In a grand banquet hall, over 20 people were seated around a large table, including 11 from the Misty sect, as well as the Zhou family brothers, Aoyang Hao, Zhou Shiyu, Patriarch Zhou, the old madam, and others, creating a lively atmosphere. Yifeng looked around and noticed that both Patriarch Zhou and the old madam were cultivators. Moreover, Patriarch Zhou's cultivation level had reached Qi Refinement's 7th level, which was quite strong. However, the strongest in the Zhou family were indeed Zhou Jiaqian and Zhou Jiakai, both at the Qi Refinement 9th level, placing them among the top figures in all of Whitefloat City. The Zhou family is one of the top 10 noble families in Whitefloat City, and their status is even higher due to the brothers serving in the city lord's mansion. Yifeng mused internally. At this point, Patriarch Zhou raised his cup and invited Yifeng, saying, "Thanks to Sect Master Yi's assistance, otherwise my son-in-law and 2 grandchildren would have been in grave danger. Let me toast to you. Patriarch Zhou is too polite." Yifeng also raised his cup and took a sip. Not only does the Misty sect have several geniuses who have brought spells to major achievement and perfection, but it also has a prodigy like Miss Jia from the Jia family. The sect truly abounds in talent, and with such potential, it's definitely on track to develop into a high-ranked sect and enjoy many more benefits. Zhou Jiaqian, somewhat inebriated, began to divulge some information. With a glint in his eye, Yifeng asked, "What are the benefits of becoming a high-ranked sect?" "Of course, there are benefits," Joe Jayakian nodded. Once a sect is upgraded in rank, it can purchase higher quality cultivation lands to accelerate cultivation speed. Moreover, a high-ranked sect has a lofty status of its own and has the potential to be promoted to a star-level sect. I see, Yifeng understood. If the Misty sect remained a lower-ranked sect, even if it had the funds, it wouldn't be able to purchase higher-grade cultivation lands. What are the promotion requirements? Yifeng asked curiously. Joe Jayakian explained. As long as the sect leader has reached the Qi Refinement 7th level and possesses 3 complete first-grade spells, one can apply for a lower-ranked sect. If the sect leader reaches the Qi Refinement 9th level and has 5 first-grade spells, then an application can be made for a middle-ranked sect. As for high-ranked sects, it's not as easy. Firstly, the sect leader must achieve the element Gathering Realm 1st level. Secondly, there must be 1 second-grade spell, 10 first-grade spells, and at least 3 spiritual artifacts. Of course, once you become a high-ranked sect, you can practically walk sideways in our White Float City, just a step below the City Lord's mansion in terms of power. As for star-level sects above that, it's very difficult, and the promotion requirements are even more complex, involving the number of spiritual artifacts and spiritual beasts, among other things. Not only Yifeng, but also the disciples of the Misty sect gained clarity on the conditions for sect promotion. Yifeng, having heard some special terms in Joe Jayakian's introduction, such as Qi Refinement 7th level, asked curiously. Just now Steward Joe mentioned that the sect leader needs to reach a certain level, but didn't mention cultivation level specifically. Does that have a special meaning? The Shenzhou continent has many cultivation systems. In addition to the mainstream Qi refinement, there's also body refinement and spirit refining. Although they're not mainstream, if one can achieve the corresponding strength, they can also meet the conditions for sect promotion, Joe Jayakian said with a smile, as if he had expected Yifeng to ask this question. Everyone else's eyes turned towards Yifeng. In their view, Yifeng was likely one of the legendary body refinement cultivators. Yet, being so young and already powerful enough to crush high-rank demon soldiers and monsters, his talent was truly fearsome. I understand now, Yifeng realized, ignoring the expressions on everyone's faces. Ding, relevant information detected, sect leader's first stage task activated. At this moment, Yifeng heard the system's voice echo in his mind. Immediately after, he saw several lines of text appear in his field of vision. Sect leader's first stage task. Lead the sect to ascend to a high-ranked sect. Task deadline. 6 months. Task reward. Miniature world remodeling ×1. Miniature sect protection array ×1. The second Qi middle volume. Consolidating origin pill ×10. Special small gift pack ×1. Upon seeing the main quest, Yifeng muttered to himself. System, what happens if I can't complete the task? Will there be any punishment? Task failure will result in no reward and no punishment. But if the same task is failed more than twice consecutively, there will be no further system tasks. Does the master need to add a punishment mechanism to constantly whip oneself into action? Asked the system. No need. Yifeng hastily refused. Sheesh. He didn't want to get tortured, so why would he add a punishment mechanism for no reason? Was he looking to get smacked? However, the pressure of upgrading the sect to a high-ranked sect in 6 months was no small matter. After all, someone at the element Gathering Realm Level 1 was worth 10 at the peak of the 9th Qi refinement layer, and that was not something easy to achieve. Otherwise, high-ranked sects wouldn't be so powerful. As for the star-level sects above the high-ranked sects, they were even more terrifying. Ah, a demonic beast is causing chaos. Just as everyone was about to finish their meal, screams from many people, as well as the dull sound of objects being smashed, came from the street outside the Zhou family courtyard. There's a demonic beast, everyone be careful. The Zhou family brothers immediately stood up, releasing the aura of 9th grade Qi refinement, like a storm being born. The little white fox that had been lying on Li Jiaojiao's legs also let out a low growl, seemingly wary of the demon beast outside. Let's go out and check. Deputy Commander Joe Jayakai immediately took out a sharp broadsword, flickering with spiritual light. It was a lower-grade spiritual artifact that, with the infusion of spiritual power, emitted a blade glow that could cause a painful sting on the skin and easily split metal and iron. The group quickly left the banquet hall and went outside. Roar! An angry roar spread throughout the Zhou family courtyard, and a dozen family guards were knocked to the ground, wailing everywhere. In the center of the courtyard stood a strange humanoid creature. shrouded in a gray mist-like demonic chi, with its eyes emitting a frightening green light. The gate of the Zhou family courtyard behind it had already been torn to shreds, and one could vaguely see that there were also many people lying on the street outside, with their life and death unknown. It's the centennial tree demon from the swamp to the east of the city. How dare it enter the city to kill? When the Zhou family brothers saw this demonic beast, a look of shock appeared in their eyes. In that swamp to the east of the city, besides Brother Flathead, there were a few seasoned demonic beasts that were about the level of 9th grade chi refinement. This centennial tree demon was one of them. "Could it be that the tree demon has learned of our movements?" said Deputy Commander Zhou Jiakai in a grave voice. The Zhou brothers had received orders from the Deputy City Lord to eliminate a few seasoned demonic beasts in the swamp to the east of the city, but they had no idea that they'd hardly engaged with Brother Flathead before they were badly beaten, and the task was subsequently put on hold. Roar! When the centennial tree demon saw the Zhou family brothers, a murderous intent appeared in its eyes, and with a wave of its hands, more than a dozen tendrils as tough as metal iron stabbed towards them. Spirit Light Barrier. Steward Zhou Jiaqian formed seals with both hands, using his spiritual power to condense a bowl-shaped barrier in front of him, acting like a heavy stone wall. A dozen or so vines pierced the surface of the barrier, emitting a tingling and clanging explosion. But the tree demon wasn't foolish. It maneuvered its vines around the barrier, continuing to stab towards everyone present. "Challenging us all on your own, how audacious!" Seeing this, Yifeng reached out and easily grabbed several vines that were heading toward Misty Sect disciples. "Earthsplitter slash!" At that moment, Deputy Commander Zhou Jiakai leaped up, holding the spiritual blade longsword with both hands. His arm muscles bulged as he swung down with all his might. A 5-meter-long blade aura hit the ground, successfully cutting off the centennial tree demon's vines. However, the tree demon was not injured, and provoked by everyone's interference, its body swelled to 5 meters high, with both hands transforming into massive wooden hammers, smashing down on the crowd. "Quick dodge!" Everyone hastily retreated. "The tree demon should be afraid of fire, use fire attacks." Mo Ying spoke rationally, and then she cast the spell Glittering Sword Chi, controlling the sword to cut down. "Fiery Cloud Palm." Shilei, Hu Yunji, and Li Jiao acted simultaneously, exerting their full force to unleash this spell, creating a blaze of fiery flames. "Falling Petals in Profusion." Jia Yulan formed seals with her hands, and countless petals, sharp as blades, also flew towards the centennial tree demon. The others joined in the attack as well. 2 Chi Refinement 9th level, a few Chi Refinement 7th level, plus the guard squad members like Wang Dachui who arrived upon hearing the news. Dozens of spells were released at the same time. Even though the centennial tree demon was strong, it was still blasted away by everyone's spells. Its body cracked open, crashing through the brick wall of the Zhou family courtyard and landing on the street. Yifeng and the others pursued, only to find the centennial tree demon lying in the rubble, motionless, most likely dead. The crowd looked around. On the street, many injured people lay scattered. Some were members of the black armored guard, others were passers-by. Just now, it was they who had mounted the first line of defense, but alas, they had been heavily injured, and some had even fallen. Strange, how could this tree demon bypass our White Float City's defenses and appear here? Ouyang Hao wore an expression of worry and confusion. White Float City was a 1-star city with strict security. If someone could so easily breach the defenses, then this place was no longer safe. "Look over here." Long Tianxing waved to the others and pointed to a pit beside the street. "I've found residual spiritual energy patterns here that are very close to the aura of the tree demon." The rest quickly activated their spirit eyes. Observing the newly dug pit, they indeed saw faint traces of spiritual energy, which must have been left just recently. "Worthy of the blue spirit eyes, your observation is meticulous," Yifeng said, looking at Long Tianxing with an appreciative gaze. He walked over, pointing at the roadside trees on both sides of the street. "Steward Zhou, these trees surrounding us wouldn't happen to all have been transplanted from outside the city, would they?" Zhou Jiaqian was taken aback. How would he know such trivial matters? "I remember now. These trees were only planted here this morning. I heard they were going to plant more trees on both sides of the road to beautify the streets," the old Madame Zhou recalled. "I got up early this morning, and while taking a walk with the maid, I happened to see a group of strangers planting trees. I asked them casually, and only now do I remember." Hearing this, everyone's expression changed. "Could it be a coincidence?" Zhou Jiaqian muttered. Yi Feng looked around, deep in thought. The centennial tree demon was dug up and then transported here, and it did not awaken until now without being discovered by anyone during the process. I'm afraid there's something fishy going on. The tree demon arrived in town this morning at that time. No one knew that our Misty sect would come to the Zhou family. So, if this is not a coincidence, it must be a conspiracy against the Zhou family. Our Misty sect seems to have been caught up in it by accident. Thinking of this, Yi Feng secretly worried for the Zhou family. He felt that this was most likely a scheme. As for who was behind it, that remained unknown. Crack! Suddenly, the centennial tree demon that had fallen to the ground made a sound of wood breaking. It actually stood up again. A large amount of wood fell from its surface, revealing a half-human height of gray demonic fog that churned incessantly. It's the soul body of the tree demon. Be careful not to let it possess you. The Zhou family brothers each made a statement, unleashing their strongest auras, ready to block the soul body of the tree demon. Thud, the tree demon's soul body ignited with a strange flame. And suddenly, the people on the entire street felt as if they were being watched by a fearsome beast, their scalps tingling instantly. This was the tree demon's soul body selecting its possession target. In the next moment, the tree demon's soul body moved. It flew straight toward the little white fox in Li Jiao's arms, attempting to possess it. Don't let the tree demon's soul body touch you, otherwise your own soul will also be injured, Zhou Jiaqian loudly reminded. Ah! The little white fox, targeted by the tree demon's soul body, exploded with fur on the spot and huddled trembling in Li Jiao's arms. Dare to mess with the mountain guardian spirit beast of our Misty sect, are you looking for a beating? Yi Feng's figure dashed forward, stood in front, and with a push of his hand, he summoned the spirit origin clock, which expanded to 2 meters in height. With a clang, he trapped the soul body of the tree demon inside. Because of the special sealing function of the spirit origin clock, the tree demon's soul body quickly fell asleep, turning into a special flame that hovered beside the contracted form of Brother Flathead. Yi Feng beckoned, retrieving the spirit origin clock. What kind of spiritual artifact is this? It can even capture the soul body of a centennial tree demon, Zhou Jiaqian said with a shocked face. This is our Misty sect's sect-guarding spiritual artifact. Its power is decent, Yi Feng said. Hearing this, Zhou Jiaqian scratched his head. He had heard before that the Misty sect was very poor. Now it seemed that all those were rumors. How could a very poor sect possess such a special spiritual artifact? However, Zhou Jiaqian didn't think too much about it and clasped his hands toward Yi Feng, saying, Thanks to Sect Master Yi for taking action just now. Otherwise, once the tree demon's soul body possessed someone or escaped, our Zhou family would surely be severely punished by the Deputy City Lord. No need to be polite. Yi Feng looked up at the bright moon in the sky, then around, and felt there were no other tree demons, so he said, It's also getting late. We should return to the sect. All right. Zhou Jiaqian nodded his head. With the attack from the centennial tree demon tonight, he and Zhou Jiakai had many matters to deal with, such as reporting the situation to the Deputy City Lord and investigating those who planted the trees. They could no longer afford to continue entertaining the guests. Farewell. Yi Feng led the Misty sect disciples away, soon departing through the East City Gate. An hour later, Yi Feng lay on the roof of the sect leader's great hall, basking in the cool night air, his hands under his head, ready to sleep. Ding! Detected that the sect prestige value has exceeded 100. Side mission activated. The system's notification suddenly rang in Yi Feng's mind, startling him. Damn it, is this dog system trying to scare me to death? Yi Feng rolled his eyes, but then he saw several lines of faint blue text appear in his line of sight. Side mission. Raise the sect prestige value to 1,000. Mission deadline. 1 month. Mission reward. The sect receives a slight fate blessing. All living beings' cultivation speed increases by 1/3. Breakthrough difficulties decrease by 1/3. Small gift pack ×1. Luck empowerment. Yi Feng's eyes nearly popped out of his head. The sect leader's first phase task was to elevate the sect to a high-ranked sect within 6 months, which couldn't be done in a short time. However, the just-appeared side quest was quite good, as it could grant luck empowerment to the sect, significantly speeding up the disciples' cultivation rate. The faster the disciples broke through, the quicker he could acquire power comparable to that of the element-gathering realm, which greatly facilitated the first phase task. It was a must-do. Ding, the sect prestige value has broken through 100. The Spirit Beast Pavilion is now open. Another notification from the system sounded. Yifeng was momentarily stunned, then blinked. That's right, the Spirit Beast Pavilion. He suddenly remembered that since he was still in his assessment period, he couldn't open the Spirit Beast Pavilion yet. Only now did Yifeng realize that opening the Spirit Beast Pavilion required not only the passing of the assessment period, but also for the sect prestige to exceed 100. The prestige was over 70 previously, and now it has suddenly exceeded 100. It must be related to subduing the tree demon tonight, Yifeng thought to himself. Meanwhile, at the City Lord's mansion in Whitefloat City, Zhou Jiaqian and Zhou Jiakai stood in a magnificent hall, with the body of the centennial tree demon laid out on the floor. A middle-aged man in luxurious clothing stood with his back to the Zhou family brothers, gazing at a painting on the wall. After a moment, a hoarse voice emanated. This centennial tree demon was stunned by a spell and had its aura concealed before being secretly transported near the Zhou family's residence, ready to assassinate you tonight, but the mission failed. Hearing this, the Zhou family brothers' eyes widened. They couldn't figure out who would go to such lengths against them, even to the point of stunning the tree demon. Moreover, whoever could stun a centennial tree demon comparable to the 9th layer of Qi refinement, how strong must the person behind the scenes be? To kill them, the Zhou family brothers, did it really need to be this complicated? Who moved against you? I have some guesses, but I'm not sure yet, the middle-aged man murmured softly, as if wary of something. The Zhou family brothers could sense the man's concern and felt a chill in their hearts. This was the Deputy City Lord of Whitefloat City, with cultivation at the first level of the element-gathering realm. Who else could he be wary of, if not the sect leaders of those 3 high-ranked sects? Could it be that the high-ranked sects were moving against the Zhou family? But that didn't make sense. The Zhou family seemed to have never offended the 3 great high-ranked sects, so why would they do this? This matter was truly baffling. At this point, the Deputy City Lord spoke again. Demonic creatures are causing trouble, and the City Lord is in seclusion. We're short-handed, let this matter go for now. You can head back. Oh, right, the Misty sect, an interesting sect. When I have some free time, I want to meet them, he added. Yes, Zhou Jiaqian and Zhou Jiakai picked up the tree demon's body and left the grand hall of the City Lord's mansion. Yifeng, unaware of the events at the City Lord's mansion, was now exploring the newly opened Spirit Beast Pavilion, getting acquainted with some of its functions. The Spirit Beast Pavilion requires prestige points to progressively unlock, and at the current stage, with the sect prestige value at 100, only the first function of the Spirit Beast Pavilion is available. This function is for taming. Any monster beasts caught alive by our Misty sect can be transformed into mountain guardian spirit beasts with the assistance of the Spirit Beast Pavilion. Yifeng digested the information about the Spirit Beast Pavilion. At the present stage, the Spirit Beast Pavilion was only in a virtual state, having a title without an actual building like the sect leader's Great Hall. System: can any demon beast, regardless of its cultivation level, be transformed into a mountain guardian spirit beast once captured by our Misty sect? Yifeng asked internally. Yes, but there is a limit to the number of spiritual beasts in the Spirit Beast Pavilion, which can be increased by raising prestige points, the system explained. Immediately following, a few lines of pale blue text appeared within Yifeng's vision. Spirit Beast Pavilion, Tier 1 Mountain Guardian Spirit Beasts, 2/3. A lower-ranked demon soldier-level juvenile little white fox with the talents of forewarning and charm. A middle-ranked demon soldier-level iron claw dragon eagle with the talents of flight, keen eyesight, and sharp claws. Note: prestige points break through 1,000, opening the second phase of the Spirit Beast Pavilion, adding all new functions. Remark: the spiritual beasts of the Spirit Beast Pavilion can all provide the sect leader with an additional cultivation level boost. Seeing this information, Yifeng's eyes brightened. Recruiting spiritual beasts, much like recruiting disciples, could bring him enhancements. Little White and Lao Tai are already part of the Spirit Beast Pavilion's spiritual beasts. Yifeng revisited the information of the Spirit Beast Pavilion, confused. Little White Fox regards the Misty sect as its home, and was taken in the moment the Spirit Beast Pavilion was opened. The Iron Claw Dragon Eagle is its master's spiritual beast, so it automatically entered the Spirit Beast Pavilion, explained the system. Yifeng showed a look of realization and asked, Right, the Spirit Beast Pavilion can still take in one more spiritual beast, so can Brother Flathead be considered? He took out the Spirit Origin clock and looked at Brother Flathead curled up inside, somewhat tempted. Brother Flathead was a high-rank demon soldier-level demon beast. If taken into the Spirit Beast Pavilion, it could bring him a huge boost. Detection of high-rank demon soldier-level demon beast, mutated honey badger. Would you like to take it into the Spirit Beast Pavilion? At that moment, the system's voice sounded. Take it in. Yifeng did not hesitate. The next moment, Yifeng sensed a mysterious and profound aura flow from his body into the spirit origin clock, gradually merging into Brother Flathead's form. The third mountain guardian spirit beast, mutated honey badger, has been recorded with the talents of endurance, toughness, holding grudges, and digging. A moment later, the system announced. Holding grudges is also a talent. Yifeng curled his lip and mocked in his mind. By that logic, stinginess could be considered a talent too. The system did not reply to this. Yifeng jumped down to the clearing, took Brother Flathead out of the spirit origin clock, and tossed him onto the grass. Wow! As soon as Brother Flathead appeared, it started going wild, biting off the grass within a 3-meter radius and showing a fierce expression. Then it saw Yifeng standing by and paused. After sniffing at his feet, it lay down on the ground and fell sound asleep. It really has been tamed. Yifeng suddenly felt a little sense of loss. Without Brother Flathead's challenges, he was somewhat unaccustomed. Atop the roof of a thatched hut, Mo Ying sat cross-legged, taking a sharp intake of breath upon seeing Brother Flathead's appearance. However, what followed left her astonished. Brother Flathead no longer attacked Yifeng but lay down on the ground to sleep, as if it had been tamed. Does he have an innate talent for taming beasts? Mo Ying blinked, finding it unbelievable. Perhaps that demonic beast was subdued by force. That was the only explanation she could muster. At this moment, Yifeng just so happened to turn around, locking eyes with Mo Ying on the rooftop. The evening breeze at the mountain's peak blew incessantly. The light gauze in front of Mo Ying was lifted by the wind as gentle as a woman, revealing the lower half of her face. There were no signs of decay on this face. On the contrary, it was snow-white and flawless, stunning to behold. Yifeng was taken aback. Mo Ying suddenly realized something was amiss. Her delicate hands moved quickly to cover her face with her broad black sleeves and leaped off the roof, vanishing in the blink of an eye. All that was left on the roof was the rustling of the thatched grass in the wind. Strange, is it an illusion? Yifeng scratched his head, a bit puzzled. Although Mo Ying moved quickly and it was night with weak lighting, he still had his spirit eyes activated, which meant his vision was far superior to that of an ordinary person. He had clearly seen that the lower half of Mo Ying's face differed greatly from before, as if all the signs of corrosion had vanished. As for the contours of the face, they seemed about the same. What's there to hide? Yifeng scratched his head, feeling a bit strange. If her face had healed, shouldn't she be happy? If he were Mo Ying and his originally unsightly face suddenly improved, he would definitely show it off boldly rather than skulk around, acting like a thief. Yifeng didn't think much of it anymore and instead looked at the spirit origin clock, considering how to deal with the tree demon's soul body trapped inside. But after thinking about it for a long time, he temporarily couldn't come up with a way to dispose of the soul body and could only consult the system. Is there a way to process the soul body? The soul body can be used in alchemy and artifact refining, but it requires the cooperation of an alchemist and an artifact refiner. The system finished speaking and fell silent. Looks like there's no way to deal with the soul body for now. Yifeng could only postpone this matter. A thatched hut in the misty sect. Mo Ying appeared in this place. She hurriedly took out a mirror and looked at her own snow-white, flawless face, gently stroking it with her hands, and kept gazing at it until late into the night. However, as soon as it was past midnight, strange patterns instantly crept across her cheeks, and her whole face quickly returned to the state that appeared to be corroded by poison fog. Sigh, Mo Ying put away the mirror and lay by the window, looking boredly at the deep blue sky. The next morning, senior disciple Shilei got up early. As the senior disciple, he needed to set an example. After washing up in the backyard, he prepared to go to the open space in front of the courtyard to cultivate. However, the moment he crossed the threshold, before his front foot had completely touched the ground, it was as if he stepped on something odd, and with a reflexive kick of his back foot, he jumped over it. While midair, Shilei looked back and saw that Brother Flathead was lying on the ground. I actually stepped on it. Shilei gasped, and then fell to the ground, with several foxtails in his mouth, appearing quite embarrassed. Wow, Brother Flathead had been lying outside the door asleep, and was suddenly stepped on by someone, immediately rising to prepare for a fight. Shilei, lying in the grass, was scared half to death. He was ready to crawl forward, planning to get up and run away once he got some distance. But before he moved, he noticed that Brother Flathead had already jumped in front of him, staring at him eye to eye. Mother, Shilei was so scared that he instantly used the iron shield technique, ready to put up a fight to the death. However, to his amazement, Brother Flathead just looked at him for a while, sniffed, then went to the door, lay down with his front paws under his chin, and fell asleep. What's going on? Shilei's eyes widened, and he lifted his head, only to find that Yifeng was sitting nearby, facing the morning breeze and watching the sunrise. Don't panic, the demonic beast has been tamed by me and has officially become the mountain guardian spirit beast of our misty sect. You can call it Brother Flathead, Yifeng said calmly. Tamed? Shilei removed his shield, astonished. Yes, indeed tamed by me. As long as it's someone from our misty sect, Brother Flathead can recognize them by their scent, Yifeng explained. The spiritual beasts and the disciples of the misty sect were all recognized by the system, so Brother Flathead could identify their scents and wouldn't make a mistake. At this time, other disciples gradually woke up. Shilei, fearing that Brother Flathead might frighten them, hurriedly went over to explain. Soon, all the disciples gathered at the entrance, looking at Brother Flathead sleeping comfortably, and found that although he seemed fierce up close, he also appeared rather cute. But no one dared to touch him with their hands. Early in the morning, you all should cultivate well, striving for an early promotion in cultivation level, Yifeng urged when he saw them all gaping at Brother Flathead. Yes, the disciples followed suit, lining up in a single file, sitting cross-legged on both sides of Yifeng, beginning their cultivation. The spiritual energy was most abundant in the morning. Of course, the effects of cultivation were the best too. Seeing them all cultivating earnestly, Yifeng thought for a moment, then took out a white lower-grade cultivation chi pill. This was one of the rewards from the assessment period task. Exactly 10 pills, averaging to 1 pill per person, but he wasn't sure about the efficacy of the pills. However, since it was a system product, it should be quite good. So Yifeng handed a pill to senior disciple Shilei, saying, "This is Misty Sect's elixir for enhancing cultivation. You try it first." Ah, Shilei was dumbfounded. Taste an elixir. This couldn't be an expired elixir, could it? Shilei's eyes widened, but seeing the expectant look on Yifeng's face, he could only toss the elixir into his mouth, finding it somewhat sweet, soft, like he was eating candy. The next moment, the rich medicinal power dispersed within his body. Shilei felt an extreme comfort throughout his body and immediately started refining it, realizing the flow of spiritual energy in his body's meridians was 100-fold faster than usual, continuously broadening his meridians. In the chi refining realm, increasing the minor realms involved constantly widening the meridians to break through one's limits and thereby expand the chi si. Shilei felt his cultivation level soar as if on a flying sword, with a single session of cultivation equivalent to a usual month's worth of progression. Whoosh, like the sound of waves washing over sand, the noise came from Shilei's meridians. His chi si suddenly grew by a third, and he actually broke through the bottleneck, stepping into the 4th layer of chi refining realm. Moreover, he found he not only broke through his cultivation level, but had also advanced deep into the 4th layer. The senior brother has made a breakthrough. The other disciples were disturbed by the sound of the breakthrough, opened their eyes one after another, and saw Shilei rapidly absorbing spiritual energy until it filled his chi si. With just a lower-grade cultivation chi pill, I've made a breakthrough in one realm, sect master uncle. This elixir's effect is too good. Shilei looked at Yifeng excitedly. The sect leader has elixirs. The disciples looked at Yifeng with surprise. Cough, actually, these are left by the old sect leader. There are 10 pills in total, just enough for one per person. Yifeng spread his hands open, revealing 9 lower-grade cultivation chi pills in his palm. Under Yifeng's distribution, each person took 1 pill, examining it carefully. Jia Yulan asked in amazement, "This elixir is pure and flawless white. Surely it's the legendary full-potency pill. It must be very expensive, right?" The elixirs sold in White Float City mostly contained some impurities. Although they were nearly as effective as full-potency pills, they ultimately weren't as perfect. In Jia Yulan's view, it must have been concocted by a master alchemist. "I'm not sure about that anyway. These are all left by the old sect leader. You all better use them quick," Yifeng continued to urge. After the disciples improved their cultivation levels, his strength increased as well, of course. He didn't want them to waste time. "Many thanks, sect leader." Apart from Aoyang Feng and Aoyang Yu, who had not yet entered the stage of chi refining, The other disciples quickly swallowed the elixirs, sat cross-legged on the ground, and obtained the effect of increasing their cultivation speed for half an hour. Long Tianxing stepped from the first layer to the third layer of Qi refining realm. Zia He and Qiu Ju both rose from the second layer to the peak of the third layer. Li Jiao advanced to the fourth layer. Huo Yunji was still in cultivation, and the breakthrough to the sixth layer of Qi refining realm seemed very near. In his opinion, once half an hour was up, he would definitely advance. This is spirit eye liquid for you too. Use it to cleanse your eyes, striving to open your spirit eyes early. Yifeng handed 2 bottles of spirit eye liquid to Aoyang Feng and Aoyang Yu, advising them. Thank you, sect master uncle. The 2 youngsters quickly expressed their gratitude. Upon obtaining the spirit eye liquid, Aoyang Feng and Aoyang Yu took out small handkerchiefs, and following Yifeng's guidance, wiped their eyes to find them cool and icy. Seeing that everyone was seriously cultivating, Yifeng didn't disturb them. He let Brother Flathead and the Iron Claw Dragon Eagle act as protectors for the sect disciples, and quietly made his way to the kitchen. Today's breakfast needs to be full of vitality. Donning an apron, Yifeng took on the role of head chef. Feeling the improvement in his strength, he happily hummed a tune. Let's row the oars, the little boat pushes through the waves. Amidst the melodious singing, Yifeng heated up the wok, made sunny side-up eggs for his disciples, and then cooked a pot of noodles. An hour later, around the worn dining table, the sect disciples gathered around, staring at the sunny side-up eggs that were either strangely shaped or burned, their eyes filled with amusement. As for the noodles, some were soft, others were hard, and some even clumped together, looking unappetizing. Sect Master Uncle, please allow me to handle the cooking in the future, Li Jiao said timidly. All right, Yifeng scratched his head embarrassedly, realizing just how terrible his cooking skills were. However, when he opened the system panel and saw the sect disciple information, he couldn't help but feel ecstatic. Sect Master. Yifeng Qi Refinement 9th Layer Peak Plus Sect, Misty Sect Lower Rank, Sect Prestige. 113 Sect Disciples. Shilei Qi Refinement 4th Layer. Huo Yunji Qi Refinement 6th Layer. Li Jiao Qi Refinement 4th Layer. Mo Ying Qi Refinement 7th Layer. Long Tianxing Qi Refinement 3rd Layer Peak. Jia Yulan Qi Refinement 6th Layer Peak. Zia He Qi Refinement 3rd Layer Peak. Qiu Ju Qi Refinement 3rd Layer Peak. Aoyang Feng Mortal. Aoyang Yu Mortal. After taking a lower-grade cultivation Qi pill, half of the disciples have made breakthroughs. It seems that in the future we'll need to obtain more elixirs. Yifeng thought after checking the information, finally realizing the importance of spending money. And with the disciples' cultivation levels improved, Yifeng felt that he too had become much stronger. I should be able to take on 4 Brother Flatheads now, Yifeng mused to himself. Poor Brother Flathead was unaware that he had become a new unit of measurement. Junior brothers and sisters, let's have breakfast first. Though it was hard to swallow, Shilei took the lead and started eating. Eat! The disciples were already hungry and immediately began. Seeing them eat in such a messy way, Yifeng helplessly facepalmed and then took out an ancient tome, placing it on the table. After you're full, cultivate this spell, Yifeng said. The disciples were surprised when they saw the cover of the ancient tome. A first-grade spell, all-dimensional spiritual perception. This is a sensory-type spell left by the old sect leader. I was planning to teach it to you once you reach the beginner level, but I'm feeling generous today, so I'll teach it now. Yifeng explained the function of the spell, eliciting surprise from everyone. At Qi Refinement 1st Layer, you can perceive everything within a 10-meter radius. Isn't that miraculous? Li Jiao exclaimed in surprise. Yifeng knew the disciples were unfamiliar with the unit of meters, so he converted it to Zhang for them. This spell can be very effective in special environments. Mo Ying also realized the extraordinariness of the spell. The other disciples, no longer in the mood for food, quickly turned to the ancient book, which was only 9 pages long, and studied the text and meridian diagrams. Because this was a spell rewarded by the system, the disciples didn't need to cultivate it themselves, for he had already mastered it to the perfect stage, so he began to explain it immediately. Hearing this, the disciples were as if they had received enlightening guidance. The most talented Mo Ying soon began cultivation, followed by Jia Yulan and Huo Yunji, who quickly reached the beginner stage. Screech! At that moment, Yifeng heard the call of the Iron Claw Dragon Eagle and said, "Someone is coming." He put away the ancient tome and walked out into the courtyard. He saw Jia Lian, the father of Jia Yulan, piloting the bamboo leaf boat. flying toward Misty Peak with 5 middle-aged and elderly men dressed like craftsmen. "Sect Master Yi, I have brought you some craftsmen." From a distance, Jia Lian shouted towards Yi Feng, and then he saw Iron Claw Dragon Eagle and Brother Flathead standing by Yi Feng's side, which frightened him so much that he almost fell from the bamboo leaf boat. The Jia family patriarch need not panic. They have been subdued and have become the mountain guardian spirit beasts of our Misty sect. Fearing that the Jia family patriarch would take flight, Yi Feng quickly reassured him. Jia Lian, still doubtful, carefully landed the boat on the grassy peak, but Brother Flathead rushed over, causing him to quickly form a hand seal and make the bamboo leaf boat take off again. "Brother Flathead, that's a guest, come back," only to hear Yi Feng call out, and Brother Flathead sulked back, feeling frustrated at not getting into a fight for the day. Seeing this, Jia Lian was convinced Brother Flathead had been subdued, his eyes filled with shock. He brought the bamboo leaf boat back down and brought the 5 craftsmen, each at the Qi Refinement's 2nd layer, before Yi Feng. "These are our Jia family craftsmen who can help Sect Master Yi renovate or even rebuild the Misty sect. All expenses will be covered by our Jia family," said Jia Lian with a show of nouveau rich demeanor. "Dad, why did you come?" asked Jia Yulan excitedly, waving her hand upon seeing her father. Jia Lian scanned Jia Yulan with spirit eyes and noticed that her spiritual energy fluctuation had increased a lot, reaching the peak of Qi Refinement's 6th layer, and he was so astonished that his eyes widened. "It seems that leaving my daughter at Misty Sect was a good choice. At least her cultivation has improved rapidly," Jia Lian thought to himself. He pointed to the 5 craftsmen and said, "I've brought these experienced craftsmen over to help with the renovations or reconstruction of the Misty sect." "Thank you, Dad." Jia Yulan was overjoyed. The support from her family for the sect she had joined made her feel a sense of joy and contentment. "All right, I've been quite busy lately, so I'll head back first. Practice well at Misty sect," said Jia Lian, then looking at Brother Flathead, who was still staring at him, quickly hopped onto the bamboo leaf boat and flew away. "We've met Sect Master Yi, and we've met the young mistress," said the craftsman as they greeted Yi Feng and Jia Yulan. Pointing to an old man with gray hair, Jia Yulan introduced, "Sect Master, this is Master Li, the Jia family's carpenter. He designed and built the entire Jia family compound. He will surely build our Misty sect well." "Good to meet you, Master Li," said Yi Feng. "Greetings to you, Sect Master Yi," replied Master Li. The two quickly became acquainted. Yi Feng laid out the architectural plan of Misty Peak he had drawn the day before on the table for Master Li to study. As a master builder with decades of experience, Master Li quickly sketched a draft that catered to Yi Feng's needs and was appropriate to the local conditions. In just half a day, Master Li had estimated the materials needed, his calculations creating a thick stack of paper. To have such talent on the Shenzhou continent in the modern age, Master Li would have undoubtedly been a chief civil engineer, thought Yi Feng, his eyes wide as he watched. "Sect Master Yi, we are still missing one type of material," said Master Li as he put down his drawing pen and spoke to Yi Feng. "What are we missing?" Yi Feng asked curiously. Master Li said, "Most of the construction materials can be bought in the city today and transported here tomorrow, but we're still missing the main beams which need to be transported from a logging site 20 miles from Whitefloat City." "Where is that?" Yi Feng inquired. "Just over there, not too far away." Master Li turned and pointed toward a stretch of mountains and forests in the distance. Yi Feng looked and realized it was to the southeast of Misty Sect, which was also about 10 miles away. So Yi Feng suggested, "How about this, Master Li and I go to the logging site to cut the wood, and everyone else goes to the city to buy the rest of the construction materials." "That plan is workable, and it will be quick." Master Li nodded in agreement. After lunch, they set off. Master Li asked the other 4 craftsmen to return to Whitefloat City to buy materials and to hire some additional help. For safety, Yi Feng had Shi Lei and Hu Yunji accompany them as escorts. On the other side, Yi Feng rode on the back of the Iron Claw Dragon Eagle. Behind him was Master Li, trembling with fear, desperately clinging to a handful of feathers, afraid of falling off. Behind them were Mo Ying, Jia Yulan, and Long Tianxing, flying with their swords. Initially, Yi Feng didn't want them to come along, but Jia Yulan had rarely escaped from Whitefloat City and wanted to look around, so she followed along. Brother Flathead and the others were left in charge of guarding Misty Peak. Before long, Yi Feng and his group landed near a small village that housed about 100 people. This place is called Lin Village. Originally, it was uninhabited, but because a logging site was developed here, someone had to watch over the forest. Over time, it grew into a small village, Master Li explained. I see, Yifeng nodded. The group quickly arrived at Lin Village. However, Yifeng noticed that every house was locked up tight, with only one person fetching water from the well at the village entrance. Seeing people approaching, the person's first reaction was to grab his bucket and run. Xiao Zhang, it's me, Master Li quickly called out. Ah, it's Master Li, we thought those demons had come back. The young man carrying the bucket finally breathed a sigh of relief and shouted toward Lin Village. Folks, don't be scared, Master Li from Whitefloat City has come. What, a master has come? Ah yeah, we finally made it through. Please save the children. The villagers came out one after another and gathered at the entrance, all muttering strange things under their breath. Some people saw the iron-clawed dragon eagle standing at the village entrance and were so frightened that they sat on the ground. But they gradually calmed down after Master Li's explanation. Were there demonic beasts attacking Lin Village? Inquired Yifeng. This is Sect Master Yi from Misty Sect, and the others are disciples from Misty Sect, all with cultivation levels above mine. That eagle there is Sect Master Yi's mount. Master Li quickly introduced everyone. Although Master Li's talent was not strong, he had worked diligently for the Jia family all his life, and as an exception, he had received some spirit eye liquid and a few spirit stones, which advanced his chi refinement to the second level. It might sound weak, but to the villagers of Lin Village, he was an immortal master. Now hearing that Yifeng was the stronger sect master of the Misty Sect with an impressive eagle mount, they were immediately filled with amazement and respect. They had heard that those who could become sect leaders were strong figures among immortal masters, and maybe they could help Lin Village get through the catastrophe. Sect Master Yi, please save our Lin Village, the villagers pleaded. What exactly happened? Yifeng asked. Although he did not know if he could help, he was willing to try. Perhaps it might even improve the sect's prestige points. The children's father went up the mountain to chop firewood and has not returned to this day. Last night, a monster broke into the village and abducted several young adults. It was terrifying. The villagers were all talking at once. Soon, Yifeng and his group figured out the situation, realizing that a monster had been lurking near Lin Village, specifically targeting young adults. It even brazenly kidnapped people in the village last night. Use all-dimensional spiritual perception to carefully check. There might be some clues left on the road. Yifeng pondered for a moment before immediately arranging action. Master Li and the iron-clawed dragon eagle stayed in Lin Village to stabilize the morale and protect the place. Yifeng, Mo Ying, Jia Yulan, and Long Tianxing all used their spirit eyes to search around the village, and indeed found a trail of irregular footprints with lingering traces of spiritual energy. Chase after it. Yifeng led the way, Mo Ying guarded the rear. They chased through the mountains and forests for half an hour, arriving at a valley and facing a waterfall where the traces suddenly ended. Sect Master, what should we do? Jia Yulan asked. Scout the area behind that waterfall, there might be some clues, Yifeng said. Let me do it. Mo Ying approached the waterfall, casting the spell all-dimensional spiritual perception. With her chi refinement 7th level cultivation, she could explore an area with a radius of about 17 meters. There's a cave behind the waterfall, it's very deep, but it has the most residual spiritual energy. A moment later, Mo Ying opened her eyes and reported. I'll take the lead. Yifeng took out the spirit origin clock, leapt up with ease, and passed through the waterfall to appear on the other side. Follow me in. With a swing of her sword, Mo Ying split the waterfall, causing it to briefly stop flowing, and Long Tianxing and Jia Yulan quickly followed. The cave was somewhat dark. Therefore, Yifeng asked, Who knows Fire Cloud Palm? Light the way. Upon hearing this, the three disciples all shook their heads vigorously. It seems we can only rely on spirit eyes. Yifeng walked ahead, using the faint green light from the spirit origin clock to navigate through the cave, eventually arriving at a damp space that glowed with a ghostly light. On the ground lay 5 young adults, enveloped in spiritual light, with red auras flowing from their bodies to a strange 2-meter-tall demonic beast with a bull head and a human body, making it stronger. It's a lower-rank demon soldier level, soul-devouring demon bull, which specializes in growing stronger by devouring blood essence. Judging by the aura it emits, it's on the verge of breaking through to the middle-rank demon soldier level monster beast, Mo Ying said after just one glance at the dark figure. Roar, when the soul-devouring demon bull saw someone intruding, fear flashed in its eyes and it turned to flee. Clang! A flash of sword light swept past, and Mo Ying heavily wounded the soul-devouring demon bull, which then collapsed to the ground. "Let me seal it." Jia Yulan used a major achievement first-grade spell, Binding Spirit Rope, throwing out a 5-colored rope to tightly bind the soul-devouring demon bull. "Ha-ha, sorted." Jia Yulan clapped her hands in a self-congratulating manner and said, "Tianxing, save the people," Yifeng stated. Long Tianxing rushed forward to check the pulses of the 5 men lying on the ground and after a moment said, "They're still breathing but are all severely weakened. They should recover after some time of recuperation." "All right, let's go back," Yifeng declared, lifting the soul-devouring demon bull bound by the binding spirit rope and carrying the unconscious young men on his back, then head back the same way they came. However, once they left the cave behind the waterfall, they found 2 familiar figures standing in the clearing outside the waterfall. "It's you!" A red-haired old man in a wheelchair saw Yifeng. His eyes widened with a look of resentment as he spoke. The other, a young man with a twisted mouth clad in black, seeing the soul-devouring demon bull carried by Yifeng, instantly showed a flash of cold intent in his eyes. "Hey, it's actually you guys." Yifeng looked at the 2 men, his eyes filled with surprise. He didn't expect to encounter Zhao Dajiang, the sect leader of the Scarlet Serpent sect, and the young man with a crooked mouth, Si Tajian, in this place. Mu, the seriously injured soul-devouring demon bull, saw Zhao Dajiang, its eyes conveying a sense of intimacy, and it bellowed pathetically as if to say, "Master, save me." Seeing this, Yifeng suddenly realized, so the soul-devouring demon bull was cultivated by your Scarlet Serpent sect to harm people. Nonsense! Zhao Dajiang's first reaction was to deny the accusation. However, Si Tajian sneered and said, "Sect leader, there are only 4 people from the Misty sect here, and none of them have a cultivation level as high as yours. Why not just finish it once and for all, heh?" Zhao Dajiang's eyes showed a strange light as he immediately used spirit eyes to size up Yifeng and his companions. Since Mo Ying was very good at concealing her cultivation level, Zhao Dajiang thought she was only at the 6th layer of qi refinement, about the same as Jia Yulan. As for Yifeng, in Zhao Dajiang's view, he was just a mortal, and although it was unclear why he could carry several people and had considerable strength, he definitely couldn't withstand a spell. "Yifeng, your bad luck is to blame for discovering my plan. It seems that I have no choice but to silence you today." The smile on Zhao Dajiang's face gradually turned ferocious. Of course, he knew about the incident at the Zhou family but didn't understand the particulars, nor did he know that Yifeng could fight 4 brother flatheads and possess the terrifying power of siping. At this moment, his attention was all on Jia Yulan and Mo Ying. "Disciple, go cripple the limbs of Yifeng and that foreigner from the Long family, and after your master deals with those 2 female disciples, we'll have our fun with them," Zhao Dajiang said with a malevolent smile. "Master, don't be too heavy-handed. I still want to discuss an interesting matter with Miss Jia afterward," Si Tajian chuckled. "What's the rush? We'll each have one," said Zhao Dajiang, revealing a sinister smile. "Master, you're over 80. Can you still handle it? Your master is still full of vigor." After saying that, Zhao Dajiang drew a red spirit sword, his aura continuously rising until he reached the 8th layer of qi refinement. Until now, he had been hiding his true cultivation level, and only today did he reveal his sharp fangs. With a clang, Zhao Dajiang swung his sword towards Jia Yulan, his speed so fast that he stirred up a biting sword wind midair. Again, a clang. Mo Ying exhibited the cultivation of the 7th layer of qi refinement and blocked Zhao Dajiang's spirit sword with her breeze-riding sword. Oh, such a young age, yet already a sect leader-level cultivator at the 7th layer of qi refinement. Impressive, Zhao Dajiang's expression changed. But he was as steady as an old dog. With his right hand forming a sword gesture, he drove the spirit sword towards Mo Ying, and with his left hand, he cast the major achievement first-grade spell, Flame Spear, aiming at Jia Yulan. "Blades pierce." As Jia Yulan retreated, she formed hand seals and executed the major achievement first-grade spell, Spiritual Flying Blade. A glowing disc a half-meter in diameter appeared in front of her, with blades continuously shooting out from its surface, barely blocking the assault. "These 2 little girls are a bit troublesome." Zhao Dajiang's gaze sharpened as he found himself being held back by the 2 women, realizing it would take at least 10 rounds to win. "Master, take it easy and let me first cripple Yifeng and that foreigner from the Long family," Si Tajian said, retracting his gaze and casting Fire Spear technique. With a leap, he aimed to flip Yifeng. "Tianxing, look after the injured." Yifeng said as he tossed the 5 villagers who were in a deep coma to Long Tianxing. With a swift movement, he easily dodged Si Tajian's lunge and then executed a move called Grandson Crippling Kick. Ah! Si Tajian screamed, then abruptly went silent, his body curling up into a bow. He rolled on the ground covered in leaves, his entire face contorted. Disciple! Zhao Dajiang did not anticipate this and let his guard down. Perfect opportunity! Mo Ying controlled her sword and flew forward, severing the hand that Zhao Dajiang used to control the sword, causing him so much pain that even the flame spear dissipated. Jia Yulan immediately changed her spell, casting an almost fully mastered falling petals in profusion, which swept over Zhao Dajiang with countless sharp petals, just nicking his neck open. How is this possible? Zhao Dajiang fell straight to the ground, never imagining he could be slain by a female disciple of the 7th layer of Qi refinement and another at the peak of the 6th layer. Seeing Zhao Dajiang's eyes still wide open in death, Jia Yulan vomited on the spot, while Mo Ying patted her back with composure, evidently used to the sight. Long Tianxing also felt nauseated, but being a boy, he quickly recovered to normal. Noticing Zhao Dajiang's demise, Yifeng's expression shifted subtly, then he turned to look at Si Tajian writhing on the ground, thinking to himself that the man truly lived up to his name. However, such a person did not deserve sympathy. Moo! The soul-devouring demon bull, seeing Zhao Dajiang fall, bellowed in grief and fury, but Yifeng silenced it with a punch, its eyes still brimming with rage. Yifeng didn't want to kill the soul-devouring demon bull just yet. Leaving it to the villagers to kill would likely be more impactful than doing the deed himself. Si Tajian, you raised the soul-devouring demon bull to harm people. You got what you deserved, Yifeng said, approaching Si Tajian, looking down at him. Yifeng, so you've been hiding your strength this deeply? Si Tajian was drenched in sweat, glaring at Yifeng with resentful eyes, his lips trembling incessantly. Sect leader, how should we deal with this man? Mo Ying came over, arms crossed, looking down coldly at Si Tajian on the ground. After vomiting, Jia Yulan had already felt much better. Just kill me, Lord Demon General will avenge us. By then, not just your Misty sect, even White Float City will be destroyed, ha. Si Tajian laughed hideously. Demon General? Yifeng and the others exchanged glances, each displaying a look of shock. The Demon General corresponded to the element-gathering realm. If Si Tajian really conspired with a Demon General, not only would Misty Sect be in danger, but White Float City as well. Scared, aren't you? We are but the vanguard of Lord Demon General, and there are many sympathizers hidden in White Float City. I'm not afraid to tell you because I want you to live in fear every day from now on. Si Tajian laughed out loud, his eyes full of madness. After pondering for a moment, Yifeng suddenly asked, Does the Demon General know about our Misty Sect? At these words, Si Tajian was taken aback. Yifeng immediately smiled. It seems that in the eyes of your Demon General, our Misty Sect is insignificant, so for now we won't be in danger. You! Si Tajian hadn't expected Yifeng to be so calm and was astonished, eyes bulging. That was a Demon General, for heaven's sake. An existence comparable to the element-gathering realm, and Yifeng wasn't scared. Yifeng suddenly asked again, Do you have any last words? Si Tajian widened his eyes. Spare me. Spare your ass. With a sweeping kick from Yifeng, Si Tajian was driven into the dirt, dead beyond any doubt. Looking at the corpses of Zhao Dajiang and Si Tajian, Yifeng's expression grew somber. There are actually undercover agents in White Float City. Is it Haixuan Gate? Or maybe someone else? And who exactly was behind the Centennial Tree Demon attacking the Zhou family? Yifeng felt as if a fog lay before him. He shook his head, deciding not to think about it for the time being, and prepared to burn Zhao Dajiang and Si Tajian down to ashes. But just then, rustling sounds came from the surrounding woods. There's demonic energy! Mo Ying instantly became vigilant. Long Tianxing surveyed the area, spotting many large figures filled with colorful spiritual energy in the forest. They must be the subordinates of that Demon General, Yifeng said gravely. Gather the wounded in the center and just focus on protecting yourselves. Leave the rest to me, the sect leader. Yifeng took out the spirit origin clock, ready for the impending threat. Mo Ying immediately cast the all-dimensional spiritual perception, scanning the area within a dozen meters radius to prevent any surprise attacks. With a rustling sound, 7 tree demons rushed out from the bushes, each with a humanoid shape, 3 to 5 meters tall, covered with vines. Their movement was loud, making it hard for them not to be noticed. The strongest among them exuded an aura not inferior to that of a centennial tree demon, having reached the high-rank demon soldier level. The other 6 tree demons were uniformly middle-rank demon soldiers, all stronger than Jia Yulan. "Sect leader, can we win?" Jia Yulan asked worriedly. "If we truly can't win, we'll take off on our swords immediately. As for these people, we might not be able to look after them," Mo Ying said, glancing at the 5 villagers who were deeply unconscious on the ground. If they insisted on not leaving, they might all die. By escaping with some of their number, at least they could preserve a fighting force and spread the word about what happened here. But then they heard Yifeng say, "If I can battle 4 brother flatheads, why can't I defeat a mere 7 tree demons?" The disciples paused for a moment upon hearing this. Right, the sect leader was strong, and with a few of them, it seemed there was no pressure in facing 7 tree demons. Hiss! The roughly 3-meter-tall tree demon leader emitted a strange sound as the air temperature around them plummeted suddenly, transitioning from the sweltering summer heat into a bitter cold winter. This was the signal for attack. All 6 middle-rank demon soldiers swung their arms, turning them into dozens of vine lashes as tough as steel, whistling through the air. Falling petals in profusion. Jia Yulan quickly made a hand seal, summoning countless pink petals in the sky, forming a bowl-shaped shield around them. Being a 2nd-grade spell and close to major achievement, its power was nearly at the perfection stage of a 1st-grade spell, so its defense was quite formidable. The vines struck against it, most bouncing off, while those that didn't were cut by Mo Ying with her flying sword, failing to harm them. Whoosh! At that moment, Yifeng leaped forward without any fluctuation of spiritual energy on his body, yet his speed was even faster than when using wind spirit steps. Crack! Yifeng enlarged the spirit origin clock to the size of a fist, and with ease, smashed a middle-rank demon soldier tree demon with it, treating it like a rock. Seeing this, the other tree demon's eyes filled with fear. A mortal so powerful? This thought popped into their minds, but before they could dwell on it, Yifeng launched his 2nd attack, shattering another tree demon. Hiss! The tree demon leader, realizing this man was rather formidable, immediately ordered a surround tactic, whereas it swelled up to 5 meters tall, its arms weaving rapidly into 2 immense wooden mallets pounding down with heavy force. But it had underestimated Yifeng. Yifeng landed on the ground, grabbed a vine, and swung like Tarzan up into a tree, dodging the tree demon leader's strike. Then, he enlarged the spirit origin clock to 2 meters high and smashed down with all his might. Dong, like the sound of a tolling bell, the tree demon leader was crushed, its body exploding, silenced. The eyes of the other tree demons narrowed to the size of pinholes, evidently terrified to the extreme. Poor tree demons can't even gasp in shock, not to mention not knowing how to say, "Holy shit." Yifeng watched the few tree demons that were frantically fleeing and muttered to himself. Not even knowing how to shout, "Holy shit," how pitiful. Thinking this, Yifeng bent a tree with force, launched himself, and with 1 punch each pierced through the remaining tree demons. In no time, they all lay on the ground, lifeless. All clear, Yifeng patted his hands together and retracted the spirit origin clock. However, as Yifeng looked at Long Tianxing and his companions in the distance, he didn't see admiration on their faces. Instead, he noticed they were continuously waving their hands as if they were shouting something. This scene seemed somewhat familiar to Yifeng. "There's trouble behind me." Yifeng suddenly became alert and turned around to throw a punch. He was not like those foolish teammates often seen in movies, who remain oblivious despite everyone else's frantic warnings. Sure enough, as Yifeng turned around, he saw a monster about 2 meters tall, resembling a huge rooster with a crocodile's head, lunging at him. His punch landed squarely on the monster's throat. Gobble, 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 the monster was sent flying backward, breaking a tree before crashing to the ground. Its 2 sharp claws flailed wildly, easily shredding the surrounding trees. These claws, Yifeng's eyes widened. If he were to be caught by those claws, not a single piece of fabric on him would remain intact. It's a lower-rank demon soldier-level croc-chicken beast, with claws that are fine materials for refining. These demonic beasts usually live in groups. The appearance of one indicates that many more are nearby. Mo Ying immediately cautioned. Yifeng instantly became vigilant, indeed hearing the sound of chicken cries rapidly approaching from all around. Thud, 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 the dense sound of footsteps grew closer. Before long, Yifeng and his group were surrounded by more than a dozen croc-chicken beasts. Since the croc-chicken beasts had eyes on either side of their heads, they looked at people in a manner similar to ordinary chickens, their heads moving from side to side, which appeared particularly comical. Gobble, gobble, gobble. A middle-rank demon soldier-level croc-chicken beast with a fiery red body let out a piercing scream, commanding the other beasts to maintain a circular formation as they swooped towards Yi Feng and the others. Streaming light sword chi? Mo Ying finally found the opportunity to make a move, forming a sword gesture with her hand and spinning it in midair. The breeze-riding sword swiftly struck out, spinning in the air as well. Everywhere it passed, the heads of the croc-chicken beasts were sliced off. They continued to run forward several steps before collapsing to the ground with a thunderous fall, neatly dead. In the end, only the middle-rank demon soldier-level croc-chicken beast leader was left, staring down Yi Feng and his companions. Gobble, gobble, gobble! The croc-chicken beast leader took off running wildly. But with a flick of Mo Ying's finger, the breeze-riding sword accelerated and cleaved it in two. Since then, whether it was tree demons or croc-chicken beasts, they were all dealt with by Yi Feng and his companions. Senior Sister Mo, that move was incredible. How did you control the flying sword to circle around? Long Tianxing's face was full of admiration. Every practitioner of the sword control technique is connected to their flying sword by an invisible stream of energy, like a rope. I controlled the sword to spin rapidly through that stream, creating a circular cutting effect. Mo Ying paused. I've named this method of controlling the flying sword combat technique. That's awesome. Long Tianxing admired her even more. Jia Yulan thought it was magical and felt like learning it too, but it was not the right moment to ask. Upon hearing this, Yi Feng's eyes widened suddenly. Sword combat technique. He wondered if it was really a technique for fighting with guns. If it were, it would truly be terrifying. After today's incident, Yi Feng believed that Mo Ying was unmistakably talented and might one day create an entirely new sword control technique, astounding all around. However, recalling that this place was perilous, Yi Feng quickly urged, "We shouldn't stay here long, we need to withdraw quickly." This place is at least 10 miles from Lin Village. It indeed belongs to a more dangerous area, and we really need to retreat quickly. Mo Ying looked at the downed croc-chicken beasts. It's just a pity that we can't take so many materials with us. My storage belt is a lower-grade spiritual artifact, and its space isn't very large, but it can barely accommodate one croc-chicken beast. Jia Yulan patted her belt and said, "There's no need to fit the entire croc-chicken beast. Only the sharp claws of this kind of demonic beast are excellent refining materials, which can be exchanged for spirit stones at special places," Mo Ying said. After speaking, she controlled her flying sword to chop off all the claws of more than a dozen croc-chicken beasts. But when piled up, the volume was still somewhat large. "It seems not all of them will fit." Jia Yulan shook her head helplessly. "My storage space is quite large and I can fit them." Yi Feng stepped forward, his hand moving over the pile of claws, and they immediately vanished from sight. "A middle-grade storage spiritual artifact." Mo Ying's gaze flickered slightly. She pointed at the fallen tree demon on the ground and said, "The wooden heart of the tree demon is also good material. We should make haste and take it, too." Yi Feng split open the body of a tree demon and found a heart-shaped wooden heart in the trunk, as big as an apple, firm in texture, and containing dense spiritual energy. Mo Ying, Jia Yulan, and Long Tianxing also went to work, and soon they had collected all of the wooden hearts. In the end, Yi Feng picked up Zhao Dajiang's spirit sword and threw it into the system space, then found 3 ancient tomes on his body, which were the first-grade spells Vajra Palm, Flame Serpent Technique, and Fire Spear Technique. Besides, there were more than a dozen lower-grade spirit stones, as well as a small vial of dark red elixir. The above were all the spoils of this battle. "Deal with the scene, then make a getaway," Yi Feng said as he put everything into the system space. "Is there a need to deal with it?" Jia Yulan asked. Yi Feng nodded. "It is best to erase any traces at the scene, leaving no chance for anyone to trace them." If C. Tajian wasn't lying, then Scarlet Serpent sect had betrayed Whitefloat City, becoming the lackeys of that demon general. The croc-chicken beasts and tree demons were most likely subordinates of that demon general. Otherwise, it wouldn't be such a coincidence for them to appear here. Therefore, they can't leave any traces behind to avoid being traced back to them. "I have some." Mo Ying produced a small vial. "Inside is some special spiritual liquid that is highly flammable and explosive, which can incinerate the corpses of these demonic beasts." The others did not expect Mo Ying to carry such a thing with her, all staring with wide-eyed surprise. "We can't delay any longer." Yi Feng looked around. Although it was very quiet, he had a premonition that if they lingered a bit longer, they might encounter danger. Thus, they quickly piled up all the remains, including the soul-devouring demon bull, which they chopped up and tossed in, with Mo Ying pouring out an entire vial of spiritual liquid and striking a spark to ignite it. The roaring flames quickly burned, and soon all that remained was a charred area. As for Yi Feng and his group, they had already made their escape. Shortly after, a pair of cold eyes emerged from the dense forest, looking at the charred remains with a cold gleam in their eyes. "Damn it, who killed the pieces of Lord Demon General and the two squads? If I find you, I will grind your bones to dust." The owner of those cold eyes roared and quickly disappeared into the forest. Yi Feng finally returned to Lin Village. They flew on their swords for a while to avoid leaving traces on their way back and then ran swiftly to the village, so it took them half an hour. "Look, the immortal envoys from Misty Sect have returned. Ah, and my child has come back too. My old darling has come back. Daddy." The expectant villagers of Lin Village at the entrance cheered excitedly when they saw Yi Feng and Long Tianxing carrying 5 unconscious youths. Master Li was sitting in front of a pile of wood, next to the iron-clawed dragon eagle who was resting with eyes closed. Seeing them return, Master Li's mood lightened. "Fellow villagers, we have rescued the people, and as for the trouble-making monsters, they have been slain in the battle and will no longer disturb our village," he announced. Yi Feng addressed the entire village. In fact, he wanted to bring back the soul-devouring demon bull to make his case more convincing. But doing so could lead the other demonic beasts here by the scent and harm the villagers of Lin Village. However, when Yi Feng handed over the 5 unconscious villagers to their families, he found that his sect prestige value was soaring like a rocket. 123, 129, 141 before long, the sect prestige value had broken through to over 220. "So it works like this too?" Yi Feng was pleasantly surprised. He had thought that he needed to slay demons publicly to gain prestige points, but saving people turned out to be enough. Thus, with good intentions, he advised, "Although that demon has been slain, there could still be other demonic beasts in the vicinity. For safety's sake, I suggest that those who can move should do so." Upon hearing this, the villagers immediately began to discuss among themselves. "We've been here for generations, where could we possibly move? How about moving close to the Misty Sect? Living closer to the immortal master does seem like a good idea." Yi Feng did not listen to the villagers' discussion. Instead, he met up with Master Li. "Sect Master Yi, these 32 logs are the main beams I have just selected." Master Li pointed at the pile of logs behind him. "Good, let's head back quickly then." Yi Feng glanced at the sky and realized it was getting late. Before long, the iron-clawed dragon eagle soared into the sky with 2 large bundles of logs, while Yi Feng and Master Li, along with others, stood on flying swords, returning to Misty Peak at the fastest speed. "Sect Master Uncle, you're finally back." Li Jiao hurriedly brought over some freshly cooked porridge to help them restore their strength. Standing by the cliff, Yi Feng saw Shi Lei and Hu Yunji just coming out of the East City Gate, heading back to the Misty Sect. "It looks like this procurement went smoothly. 100 miles away, an underground cave. Lord Demon General, those 2 pawns from the Scarlet Serpent sect have been killed, and the 2 squads under your command have completely fallen." A cold voice reported the situation. "To achieve this before you arrived means that the opponent has strength beyond the peak of Qi refinement 9th level, comparable to yours." The voice of the hidden demon general said unhurriedly, deep and resonant. "Comparable to me?" The owner of the cold voice felt somewhat incredulous, stepping out from the dark shadows, revealing its true form. It was a young man with a cold countenance. He wore gray animal hide clothing, and a closer look revealed a wolf tail behind him and 2 fluffy wolf ears. This was a netherworld wolf. He had begun transforming, but hadn't fully succeeded yet. His strength was between the peak of Qi refinement 9th level and the first layer of the element gathering realm. Among the demon race, this was called a preparatory demon general. But among human cultivators, it's rare to see those in this transitional stage. Normally, after reaching the peak of Qi refinement 9th level, human cultivators would go into reclusive meditation until they broke through their bottleneck to become the first layer of the element gathering realm. But the demon race was somewhat special. Even without fully transforming into human form, they could move about freely, continue their transformation, and exert strength between the peak of Qi refinement 9th level and the first layer of the element gathering realm. A half-transformed preparatory demon general could often contend against several cultivators at the peak of the Qi refinement 9th level. Lord Demon General, how could there possibly be a human with strength comparable to mine near White Float City? The preparatory Demon General, Netherworld Wolf, asked incredulously. It's not impossible, the Demon General said. The Netherworld Wolf frowned. How could it be possible? The Demon General fell silent for a moment, then speculated. Generally speaking, human cultivators often fail when they attempt to break through to the element-gathering realm, but at the very least, it causes some enlargement of their meridians and chi-si, considerably increasing their strength. After failing to break through, most of them cannot continue to advance to the next realm, so they choose to come out of seclusion. Their strength is not inferior to yours, but after striking too often, it can lead to the contraction of their meridians, and their chi-si gradually shrinks back down to the pinnacle of the 9th level of chi refining. So, such people rarely take action unless their lifespan is nearing its end, and they have nothing left to fear. I suspect that the one you encountered is an old fellow from a high-ranked sect who has been in secluded cultivation for years, with not much of his lifespan remaining, knowing that breaking through to element-gathering realm is hopeless, and thus has come out of seclusion. The Demon General's narrative made the Netherworld Wolf realize with a start that, aside from those in the element-gathering realm, there were indeed many formidable individuals within the human race. Lord Demon General, the pawn from the Scarlet Serpent sect is dead. How should we proceed with our plan? Netherworld Wolf asked. The Demon General pondered for a moment. I have planted quite a few pawns in White Float City, but they all have their missions and cannot be reassigned for the time being. In that case, you take care of it. And what about you, my lord? I have not yet recovered from my injuries, so it's inconvenient for me to take action. You will oversee the future plans. Do not disappoint me. Yes. A moment later, Netherworld Wolf left the cave. From beginning to end, that Lord Demon General never showed his true face, remaining hidden in the darkness. Yifeng was unaware of the goings-on within the underground cave. At this moment, he was helping Master Li with wood planing. Yifeng possessed immense strength and worked with high efficiency, and by dusk, dozens of main beams were processed. As long as the rest of the materials were brought over tomorrow, construction could officially begin on the brand-new Misty sect. As for Shilei, Hu Yunji, and the others who had gone into the city to procure supplies, they would stay in the city tonight and return to the Misty sect together with the materials the next day. Sect Master Yi, it's getting late. I'm going to head back and rest. I'll be over early tomorrow morning, Master Li said as he followed the path down the mountain toward White Float City. At this time, many people were making their way to the city on the stone road, so there was no need to worry about danger. That night, after dinner, Yifeng and the others sat on the grass in front of the gate, where the platform built for the sect challenge had been dismantled into piles of wood. Sect Master, it seems like something's wrong with our eyes. At this moment, the youngest ones, Aoyang Feng and Aoyang Yu, were rubbing their eyes with panicked expressions on their young faces. Did you see things in bright colors? Yes. Don't panic, you've opened your spirit eyes and have become preparatory cultivators in the gazing breath realm, Yifeng said with experience. Really? Can we start cultivating then? Aoyang Feng and Aoyang Yu asked eagerly. Yifeng nodded slightly. Of course, but as you've just opened your spirit eyes, you should rest well first. You can start proper cultivation tomorrow. As long as Aoyang Feng and Aoyang Yu entered the chi refining realm, his strength would improve once again. Okay. The two disciples lay on the grass, looking up at the star-filled sky, too excited to sleep. Yulan, your falling blooms in profusion, hasn't reached major achievement yet. I've spent some time recently and deduced the complete meridian circulation diagram. If you cultivate according to this, you should be able to reach perfection. If there's anything you don't understand, just ask me directly. Yifeng quickly sketched a diagram and handed it to Jia Yulan. By the candlelight, Jia Yulan examined the meridian flow diagram, her pretty face filled with surprise and delight. She began to cultivate attentively under Yifeng's guidance and made rapid progress. Mo Ying sat near the cliff's edge, fingers forming sword seals, controlling her breeze-riding sword to circle in the air as she rigorously practiced her first grade spell, Glittering Sword Chi. She had always felt she had entered a dead end, which was why she had not achieved perfection. Watching Yifeng giving instructions to Jia Yulan, Mo Ying pondered for a moment before asking, Sect Master, my first grade spell, Glittering Sword Chi, remains imperfect. I wonder if you could give me some guidance? I can, Yifeng nodded. This straightforward reply took Mo Ying aback. The next moment Mo Ying stood up, ready to demonstrate Glittering Sword Chi. However, Yifeng waved his hand and said, I've seen you perform glittering sword chi many times. It's already thoroughly familiar to me. Just tell me if you have felt anything unusual during your cultivation." Mo Ying looked surprised. She wasn't sure about Yi Feng's abilities, but she still said, "When controlling the sword, I always feel that I can't achieve man-sword unity. My mind often gets disordered, preventing me from reaching perfection." Yi Feng thought for a while, and drawing from his memory of glittering sword chi, he said meaningfully, "Immerse your body and mind in nature, let go of your heart completely, listen carefully to the call of the wind, the sword's heart, and the messages conveyed by the chirping insects and tweeting birds. Then you will feel it." Upon hearing this, Mo Ying was somewhat puzzled, but after another thought, she wondered if she had been too impatient. Could this be the reason why her glittering sword chi had never achieved perfection? With this in mind, Mo Ying placed her flying sword on her knees, closed her eyes, and carefully sensed everything around her. The chirping of insects, the soft whisper of the wind, the cold of the sword. As Mo Ying continued to immerse herself in her surroundings, she found her body and mind gradually sinking into nature, the impetuousness in her heart surprisingly being suppressed. At that moment, she found her thoughts suddenly clear, and with a sudden flick of her finger in one direction, the breeze-riding sword whooshed out, splitting a mosquito 10 meters away into two halves. Oh, Yi Feng witnessed the swift thrust of the flying sword and its rapid retraction, as quick as a flash of light, moving freely, his eyes instantly revealing a look of astonishment. This was the sign of perfection in glittering sword chi. "Sect Master, I've achieved perfection." Mo Ying sheathed her sword, and although she tried to conceal her emotions, Yi Feng still heard surprise in her voice. "Wow, that was fast!" Jia Yulan and Li Jiao both exclaimed in surprise. Zia He and Qiu Ju, who were cultivating, also showed a look of amazement. As former maids of the Jia residence, they were aware of how difficult it was to reach perfection in a spell. But in the Misty Sect, it seemed that achieving perfection in a spell wasn't that difficult. "It's truly fortunate for us to have joined the Misty Sect with the young mistress," Zia He and Qiu Ju thought to themselves as they exchanged glances. Finally, the two women stole a glance at Yi Feng and thought how formidable the sect master was, his casual guidance leading to the perfection of a spell, and importantly, he was very handsome too. "You've achieved perfection in your spell, good job." Yi Feng had not anticipated that Mo Ying would have such a high level of comprehension, and in such a short time, she had achieved perfection. He looked at the sky, feeling it was getting late, and said, "It's about time now. Don't stay up too late or you'll lose your hair." Having said that, Yi Feng lay down on the back of the iron-clawed dragon eagle and fell into a deep sleep. "Staying up late, losing hair?" Jia Yulan drew in a deep breath, grabbed her lush hair with both hands, and said with a face full of terror, "No way!" Zia He and Qiu Ju were so scared they fell asleep right where they were. Li Jiao blinked innocently, then using Little White Fox as a pillow, she too fell asleep. Ouyang Feng, Aoyang Yu, and Long Tianxing, being slightly younger, couldn't stay awake and soon fell asleep as well. In the end, only Mo Ying and the iron-clawed dragon eagle were left, staring at each other as though they had an agreement that, if the moon doesn't sleep, I won't sleep, whoever sleeps is a turtle. Under the night sky, the moonlight was like water. A white cloud drifted across the azure sky. A white shadow popped its head out from among the clouds, surveying the mountain range below. Suddenly, the mysterious figure noticed the iron-clawed dragon eagle standing on the peak of Misty Peak, then saw Brother Flathead sleeping on the grass in front of the gate, and upon noticing Mo Ying and the other human cultivators, its eyes filled with astonishment. As for Little White Fox, it couldn't be seen because Li Jiao was using it as a pillow. Moments later, the white shadow headed off into the distance, and before long it shrank its body and came to a halt before a cold-looking young man with wolf ears. This person was the Netherworld Wolf in mid-transformation. "Reporting to the Little Wolf General, I have discovered a sect on a mountain peak that has tamed the troublesome creature from the eastern city swamp." The white shadow reported what it had seen and heard. It had no physical form, resembling a white mist in the shape of a flying bird. Upon hearing this, Little Wolf General narrowed his eyes slightly and said, "Although I don't know why that troublesome creature was tamed, we can perhaps start with this sect." As he spoke, Little Wolf General looked at the mist in the shape of a bird and said, "Shape-shifting beast, you are most suited for disguise. You will be responsible for approaching the mountain and turn the warriors of our race who are there, understand?" The shape-shifting beast blinked and asked, "Little Wolf General, what about you?" "My demon aura is too strong, and I am in the transformation stage, which I cannot conceal well enough to approach Whitefloat City closely." With that, little wolf general vanished into the jungle. "But I'm scared." The shape-shifting beast wanted to say something more, but its voice faded away. Seeing that little wolf general had disappeared without a trace, it realized it had no choice but to carry out this dreadful plot of subversion. "I want to be human, change, change, change." The shape-shifting beast chanted an odd chant. Its form shifted constantly, and it indeed turned into a human form. Moreover, it pulled out a cloak from nowhere, perfectly covering its body and concealing its demon aura without a trace. At first glance, there was no apparent difference between it and a human. In the latter part of the night, the shape-shifting beast stealthily climbed up Misty Peak, only to find Mo Ying practicing her sword in the wee hours, her figure now here, now there like a specter, quite terrifying. "Oh my, this person is a bit ruthless. It's not the right time to approach." The shape-shifting beast immediately started chanting, "I want to be an ant, change, change, change." Having said that, it rapidly shrunk its form and turned into a large white ant lurking on the edge of the cliff. The next morning, Yifeng got up early and went to the edge of the cliff to practice a set of martial arts to limber up his limbs. He accidentally kicked a stone out, which happened to hit the shape-shifting beast that was lurking on the edge of the cliff. Have I been discovered? Could it be that this person who seems to lack cultivation actually possesses an extremely sensitive perception and is a master? No, this can't be possible. The shape-shifting beast was so frightened that it was trembling all over. However, the thought of facing severe punishment from the little wolf general if it failed to complete its mission left it no choice but to continue climbing back to the summit of Misty Peak. Before long, Shilei, Hu Yunji, Master Li, and their party finally arrived from Whitefloat City, followed by more than a dozen horse-drawn carriages loaded with a large amount of processed materials. As long as they were moved to Misty Peak, they could be assembled on site, which was convenient and time-saving. "Let's go, help with the work." Yifeng, along with the iron-clawed dragon eagle and others, made several trips back and forth and finally moved all the materials to the top of the peak, placing them on the open ground. True cultivators indeed, they move things so quickly. "If it was left to us, it might have taken all day," Master Li remarked. The others looked at the mighty iron-clawed dragon eagle with envy on their faces. The shape-shifting beast, hiding in a tree, watched this scene and said bitterly, "Damn it! The noble iron-clawed dragon eagle is actually doing hard labor. The demon race shouldn't be slaves." At that moment, Master Li pointed to the other 4 craftsmen and then to the 10 new helpers and said to Yifeng, "Sect Master Yi, these are all temporary workers. With their help, we should be able to lay the foundations today. If there's anything that needs help, our sect's disciples will also give their full support," Yifeng said. "How could we dare to trouble your sect's disciples to make a move? It's all right. This is also a form of cultivation." Yifeng gestured, immediately having the sect's disciples help without anyone being lazy. Everyone first moved everything out of the thatched cottages except for the sect leader's great hall, and as Mo Ying struck with a sword, the cottages all collapsed. The iron-clawed dragon eagle directly grabbed and cleared the debris to the open ground. Then Master Li led the helpers to build according to the plan, and with the assistance of Shilei, Hu Yunji, and other disciples, they laid the foundation in just half a day. "Right, the lower half of these main pillars has to be buried underground, and to prevent rotting, we must scorch the surface with fire," Master Li said. "You're talking about charring. I know about it." Yifeng waved his hand, letting Shilei cast the fire cloud palm, swiftly brushing over the surface of the main pillars, instantaneously carbonizing the outer layer. Master Li and the other craftsmen saw this and all gave a thumbs up. So, spells can be used in this way. They all began to entertain the idea of cultivating fire-based spells, thus with the joint efforts of dozens of people. By that evening, they had erected a row of buildings on the peak forming an inverted shape when viewed from above, totaling 15 rooms. "We've finished a week's worth of work in just one day." Master Li stood in the backyard, astonished. This was the fastest construction he had ever seen in his life. "Tomorrow we'll renovate the sect leader's great hall and relay the floor tiles, build a fence, and that should about do it," Yifeng said, standing on the roof. At this time, the shape-shifting beast had transformed into a cicada, lying on the treetop, morosely thinking to itself, "What should I do? There's no chance to get close to the iron-clawed dragon eagle and that troublesome guy." With no other options, it could only continue to wait. The next day, Yifeng and the others got up early and continued to help with the renovations. They renovated the sect leader's great hall, relayed the floor tiles, built a 1-meter-high wooden railing around the edge of the cliff on the peak, and planted various flowers and herbs. In just 3 days, Misty Sect had been completely transformed. "We finally have our own rooms." Li Jiao, holding the little white fox, ran into a room that was 3 meters wide and 5 meters long. It was not large, but it looked brand new and clean, which brightened up her eyes. The other disciples also found their own rooms, with a gleam of light in their eyes. Although there's no furniture yet, the size of the room is still decent, just right for one person. Yifeng stood in the small courtyard shaped like the Chinese character for concave, looking at the numbers on each room door, his face betraying a sense of satisfaction. 15 rooms from room 0 to room 14. Room 0 was Yifeng's, positioned on the central axis. Room 1 to room 11 were other disciples' rooms, except for the one that belonged to the 5th disciple, Xu Hongyu, which was empty. The rest were occupied. The remaining 3 rooms were left vacant for now. To make it more elegant, Master Li built latrines and a kitchen on either side of the courtyard, as well as auxiliary rooms like a woodshed. Afterward, Master Li cleared away the debris and constructed quite a bit of furniture on site, finally completing the project smoothly. Now, the building area on the top of Misty Peak reached 1/3. For the remaining space, Yifeng planned to save it for future construction of facilities like the martial arts ground and spirit beast pavilion. Having your own room is indeed wonderful. Yifeng arrived at the door of his room 0. This room wasn't the first one, but rather it was located on the central axis of the concave shape, exactly in the middle, with room 7 and room 8 on either side, which meant it was between Jia Yulan and Zia He. Sect Master Yi, the construction here is basically complete. From now on, I'll bring some gardeners over to plant spirit flowers and exotic grasses for the Misty Sect every now and then, Master Li said. "Thank you very much, Master Li." Yifeng watched Master Li and his people leave, then returned to the newly refurbished sect leader's great hall, feeling refreshed and in high spirits. Suddenly, he remembered the spoils of war he had obtained near the timber camp in the woods. Those items had to be dealt with secretly. He couldn't use them himself, or it would be like playing with fire. So, he called for Mo Ying. "How can we deal with these items covertly?" Yifeng took out Zhao Dajiang's spirit sword, waved it in front of Mo Ying, and then stowed it away. Mo Ying thought for a moment and said, "There's an underground market in Beacon Fire City where you can sell the spoils. Moreover, they don't care about our identities, they only care about the goods, not the people." Yifeng looked at Mo Ying intently, thinking to himself that she was truly an experienced driver, knowing exactly what to do. "It's better to dispose of these things as soon as possible," Yifeng said. Zhao Dajiang's spirit sword was good, but once it was used, it could easily attract attention from those with ulterior motives. Mo Ying glanced at the sky outside. "It's already late, we can only go tomorrow morning at the earliest." "All right," Yifeng nodded. The two of them were unaware that, a few dozen meters away at the edge of a cliff, a white giant ant was crouching. "I've waited 3 days for those mortals to leave, still not sure when the right opportunity will come." The shape-shifting beast was anxious. But when it recalled the experience of being kicked down by Yifeng while he was stretching a few days earlier, it felt that this sect leader was no simple matter. So it dared not get too close. The next morning, before dawn, the sky had yet to brighten when Yifeng and Mo Ying stepped onto the breeze-riding sword, heading for Beacon Fire City to the east. Originally, Yifeng had planned to ride the iron-clawed dragon Eagle over, as going back and forth 400 miles relying solely on Mo Ying's sword flying would be too exhausting. But the iron-clawed dragon Eagle was too conspicuous a target. In the end, for safety, Yifeng and Mo Ying chose to fly on the sword, hoping to make the round trip within the same day. "Hey, those two have gone, my opportunity has arrived." The shape-shifting beast, constantly watching the Misty Sect, realized that the most enigmatic Yifeng had finally left the premises, and its eyes lit up with anticipation. On the way, Yifeng noticed that the speed of the flying sword had increased significantly. It was probably because there were only 2 people standing on it. "Given this speed, we should be able to reach Beacon Fire City within an hour," Mo Ying said as she stood at the front, pinching a sword technique with her right hand. "The speed's pretty good," Yifeng praised. This speed was roughly 10 meters per second, which was indeed fast, and the key advantage was that it took a straight line, which saved trouble. "But this is under ideal conditions. With my current spiritual power, I can't fly continuously for an hour." Mo Ying's words were like a bucket of cold water poured on Yifeng. "How much spiritual power do you need to replenish?" Yifeng asked, producing 5 lower-grade spirit stones in his palm. Yifeng did not want to delay too much on the road, and even if it meant consuming a few spirit stones, it was worth it. Anyway, he wouldn't lose out after selling the materials. Flying 200 li would require 3 lower-grade spirit stones. Mo Ying took only 3 stones, then fell silent. 3 spirit stones for 100 kilometers fuel. Yifeng complained internally as he put away the remaining 2 spirit stones. For the rest of the journey, Mo Ying continuously controlled the flying sword to maintain a steady speed, while Yifeng, utterly bored, looked around restlessly. After flying 50 li, Mo Ying would take out a lower-grade spirit stone to replenish the expended energy. Atop Misty Peak. At this moment, convinced that Yifeng would not return anytime soon, the shape-shifting beast silently recited an incantation and transformed into a white mosquito, flying to the ear of the iron-clawed dragon eagle. Buzzing, the iron-clawed dragon eagle, resting with eyes closed, suddenly heard the annoying sound of a mosquito by its ear. Thus, with a slap, it flapped its wings and swatted away the mosquito that was actually the shape-shifting beast, sending it flying to an unknown corner. Damn it! The shape-shifting beast flew back, transforming into an ant, planning to climb to the ear of the iron-clawed dragon eagle. But before it could climb up, the iron-clawed dragon eagle felt a tickle, shook its wings, and the shape-shifting beast was swatted away again. I don't believe this. The shape-shifting beast was persistent. However, it could not approach the iron-clawed dragon eagle no matter what kind of insect it transformed into. For a moment, its face was almost green with frustration. Meanwhile, after expending 3 lower-grade spirit stones, Yifeng and Mo Ying finally landed in front of an ancient city built entirely with reddish-black stone bricks. This was Beacon Fire City. Recent demonic beast disturbances had reduced the city's population from over 100,000 to merely 100,000. The pedestrians in the city were sparse, like frost-stricken eggplants, wilted. Yifeng and Mo Ying changed into black coats and donned black veiled hats before walking into the city. Mo Ying, knowing her way around, took Yifeng to a rundown grocery store and through a secret passageway into a gloomy underground corridor. Various stalls lined both sides of the corridor, selling all kinds of demonic beast materials, as well as elixirs, spirit grasses, and more. Every stall owner was dressed similarly to Yifeng, their true faces obscured. Mo Ying did not linger in the corridor, but led Yifeng into a shop named Wuxuan Pavilion. "Hey, we have guests. Are you here to buy or sell?" A fat man wrapped in a cloak came out and asked the two of them. Yifeng noticed that there seemed to be a layer of spiritual energy on the surface of the fat man's cloak. When observed with spirit eyes, it displayed a variety of colors, making it impossible to discern their cultivation level. At that moment, Yifeng saw that Mo Ying seemed to be looking at him, so he said, "Let's sell first, and if you have anything good here, I might buy." "All righty." The owner of Wuxuan Pavilion chuckled, closed the door, and said, "You two can show me what you want to sell now." Bang! Yifeng threw all the croc chicken beast claws onto the wooden table, causing the surface to bend under the weight. "All croc chicken beast claws, eh? 1 pair of middle-rank demon soldier level, 14 pairs of lower-rank demon soldier level. Let me do the math. A pair of middle-rank demon soldier level claws for 5 spirit stones. A pair of lower-rank demon soldier level claws for 2 spirit stones, totaling 33 spirit stones." The store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion took out an abacus, calculated on the spot, and then announced the result. Hearing the amount of over 30 spirit stones, Yifeng felt a bit surprised and said, "Not bad." Having said that, he placed the 7 tree demon cores on the table, each emitting a faint green spiritual light. 6 middle-rank demon soldier level tree demon cores, 1 high-rank demon soldier level tree demon core. Tisk, that's no small sum. The store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion had a somewhat comical smile. The high-rank demon soldier level core for 30 spirit stones, the middle rank for 10 spirit stones, totaling 90 spirit stones. "The price difference with the croc chicken claws is that much?" Yifeng was astonished. A pair of middle-rank demon soldier level croc chicken claws was only worth 5 spirit stones, but a middle-rank demon soldier level tree demon core was valued at 10 spirit stones. Of course, different materials have different values. The store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion laughed heartily. "My esteemed guest, do you have anything else you wish to sell?" Having a single day's transaction surpass 100 spirit stones was considered a big deal for the store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion. Therefore, his attitude towards Yifeng had improved a lot. Clang! Yifeng tossed Zhao Dajiang's spirit sword on the table and placed a small bottle of dark red elixirs next to it, saying, "I'll sell all of these to you." The spirit sword and elixirs were obtained from Zhao Dajiang, and he didn't dare use them. It was safer to exchange them all for spirit stones. This is the lower-grade spiritual artifact Fire Spirit Flying Sword, originally priced at 180 lower-grade spirit stones. It's difficult for most people to fully unleash its power, so as it's a buyback, I can only offer you 150. The store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion quickly offered a price. All right then, Yifeng nodded. It was hot merchandise anyway. It was normal for the price to be a bit lower. The store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion picked up the bottle of elixirs, sniffed and inspected it before finally stating, "These are lower-grade fire spirit chi pills. Taking them can enhance the power of fire-based spells. There are 7 pills in total, 14 spirit stones for all." "That's fine, I'll sell just that much," Yifeng said, feeling that the price was quite good. 287 lower-grade spirit stones in total. I will give you 2 middle-grade spirit stones and 87 lower-grade spirit stones. The store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion placed a small cloth bag on the table. Yifeng opened it and saw inside 2 spirit stones emitting an aura 100 times more intense than the lower-grade spirit stones. Indeed, rare middle-grade spirit stones. "Gentlemen, what would you like to buy?" the store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion asked. "What treasures do you have here?" Yifeng inquired. The store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion smiled, lifted the black cloth behind him, revealing a 2-meter-tall shelf filled with various items. Spiritual artifacts, talisman papers, elixirs materials, spirit grass, puppets, etc. were all arrayed in a dazzling array, more than 300 items. "Don't you have any formations?" Yifeng remembered the sect leader's first phase task reward, which included miniature sect protection array ×1. And since the Misty sect didn't have a formation, he casually asked. The next moment, Yifeng distinctly felt a look of surprise from both Mo Ying and the store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion. "Haha, my esteemed guest sure knows how to joke. Even the most inferior miniature formation costs 500 spirit stones, and we don't have such stock in the underground market. You have to visit a proper shop to buy one." The store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion shook his head. "Then let's go for some elixirs." Yifeng browsed the shelves for a while and chose a bottle of 10 lower-grade healing chi pills. The store owner gave him a 10% discount, totaling 45 spirit stones. Afterward, Yifeng spent another 50 spirit stones to purchase a bottle of 10 lower-grade cultivation chi pills. Before leaving, Yifeng gritted his teeth and spent 150 lower-grade spirit stones to buy a defensive spiritual artifact named Mysterious Turtle Shield. The store owner boasted that it was made from the shell of a mysterious turtle that had cultivated for 300 years, and below the element gathering realm, hardly anyone could break it with a single strike. From then on, the newly acquired spirit stones dwindled to only 42, causing Yifeng a bit of financial pain. Time to slip away. Yifeng packed up the 2 bottles of elixirs and the mysterious turtle shield, which had shrunk to the size of a palm, ready to make a run for it with Mo Ying. He had a feeling that if he didn't leave now, he might end up spending all his money today. Minus the spirit stones used for replenishing Mo Ying's spiritual power on the way, I've only earned a bit over 30 spirit stones this time. How frustrating. Yifeng grumbled inwardly. But before leaving, Yifeng blinked and turned back to ask, "Can you accept soul bodies here?" The store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion was taken aback. "I can't take them here, but there is a customer who said he wants to. How about this, in 7 days I arrange for a few people to meet here?" "What about the price?" Yifeng asked. If the price was mediocre, he wouldn't consider selling the soul body of the Centennial Tree Demon. The store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion inquired, "What level of soul body?" "High-rank demon soldier level," Yifeng said. He intentionally revealed some information but wasn't worried about the store owner spreading it around, as these kinds of stores generally had a reputation to uphold. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to keep doing business. The eyes of the store owner of Wuxuan Pavilion brightened. "Above 100 spirit stones. For specifics, we'd have to wait until our esteemed customer and another discuss it. Of course, I promise the price won't be lower than this, but the store will take a 10% introduction fee, deducted from the other esteemed customer." "All right," Yifeng nodded slightly. Before long, he and Mo Ying had left the underground corridor and were walking on the streets of Beacon Fire City. "Sect leader, Have you noticed that earning spirit stones is hard, but spending them is very easy? Mo Ying suddenly asked. Yifeng was taken aback and nodded. Indeed. He had fought hard just once, and with great difficulty had his spoils of war sold for over 200 spirit stones, only to find himself left with a few dozen in no time. The speed of spending money was heart-wrenching. However, Yifeng suddenly realized something and asked, "You're so familiar with the underground market. The beginner's fee you paid earlier, wasn't it from slaying demonic beasts in the wilderness and then trading them at the Wuxuanj Pavilion?" Mo Ying confirmed with a sound. "I knew it. There's no such thing as a free lunch. To make ends meet, one has to really put in the effort." Resting his head in his hand, Yifeng walked and muttered softly to himself. Hearing this, Mo Ying couldn't help but want to laugh. Unbeknownst to the two of them, after they left Beacon Fire City, several men in black followed them out. On the breeze-riding sword, Yifeng handed 5 spirit stones to Mo Ying, saying, "Here your travel expenses." Mo Ying was somewhat speechless. "I'm a disciple of the Misty Sect, escorting the sect leader. How could I dare to ask for travel expenses?" "Take it," Yifeng urged. "Once I earn more money, every disciple will be able to receive 5 spirit stones each month. No, I want to be a conscientious boss, giving you double pay. Hence double the happiness." Mo Ying didn't know why, but she felt like laughing at his odd and amusing words. However, the warm moments were always fleeting. Just as Yifeng and Mo Ying left Beacon Fire City by 30 miles, in a dense forest below, suddenly 2 strong demonic auras shot up into the sky. The violent currents surged towards them, and Mo Ying quickly controlled the flying sword to change direction, narrowly avoiding the ambush. Crash! The towering trees, several tens of meters high, fell in a ring pattern to the surrounding area, spreading to dozens of meters away in an instant, with a deafening noise. Yifeng and Mo Ying stood on the flying sword, looking down from 100 meters in the air, only to see 2 huge figures emerge in the center of the collapsing trees, locked in fierce combat. One was a dual-winged giant crocodile, easily over a dozen meters in length, but too cumbersome to actually fly. The other was a fanged, mad, pig-shaped demonic beast, 3 meters tall and brawny like an elephant, with 2 sharp, arc-shaped tusks 3 meters long, capable of flipping the giant crocodile with a single thrust. "They're demon general-level demonic beasts." Mo Ying's face was grave. Yifeng might not have been able to discern their specific cultivation level, but he judged that each could easily beat up 100 brother flatheads. Too strong. Is this the might of a demon general comparable to the element-gathering realm? Truly terrifying. Even if I encountered them, I would have to turn and flee, Yifeng exclaimed in shock. Those are the fanged mad pig and the dual-winged giant crocodile, quite notorious around these parts. It's said that they've both reached the peak of the demon general level. They rarely show themselves. Who would have thought we'd run into them today? Mo Ying's face was already pale, although Yifeng couldn't see it. She immediately steered the flying sword to take a detour. Roar! Just then, the fanged mad pig retreated dozens of meters, then sprinted again, breaking one of the giant crocodile's teeth and hurling it like a sword toward Yifeng and Mo Ying in the sky. "Be careful!" Yifeng pushed Mo Ying out of the way, blocking the half-foot-long sharp tooth with his hands, feeling as though he had been hit by a dozen wild bulls falling from the flying sword. "Sect leader!" Mo Ying quickly controlled the flying sword to chase after him, catching Yifeng, then flew at high speed, skimming the treetops, and quickly moved away from the combat zone of the 2 peak demon generals. Dozens of miles away, by the bank of a river roughly a few hundred meters wide. This was Fenhuo River, one of the tributaries of the Southern River Basin, flowing from west to east, passing Beacon Fire City. Following the riverbank west for over 100 miles, then flying south for several dozen miles, one would return to Misty Peak. Just as expected from the sharp tooth of the dual-winged giant crocodile, it's incredibly hard. It should fetch a good price. Yifeng tapped on the sharp tooth, then put it away, noticing that Mo Ying was using spirit stones to recover her energy. "Someone's coming!" Suddenly, Mo Ying sensed the presence of other cultivators and immediately pinched the spell, readying herself for battle. In such a desolate wilderness, the possibility of someone approaching with intent to rob and kill was the highest. "Heh, we've finally caught up." 5 sturdy figures dressed in black surrounded them, 4 at the 7th layer of chi refinement, and 1 at the 8th layer. The speaker was the masked, burly man at the 8th layer of chi refinement, holding a very unique spiritual artifact, a disc with 5 blades floating above it. "Big brother, it seems to be just a mortal and a great beauty around the 6th layer of chi refinement," said a masked man with a rooster's comb haircut, laughing. Gazing at Mo Ying's proud figure, he thought it wouldn't matter even if she was ugly. Hearing his words, Yifeng thought to himself that Mo Ying's method of concealing her cultivation level was quite impressive, having fooled these men. "Surround them." At that moment, the leader with the tray at the 8th layer of chi refinement waved his hand, and the 5 blades on the disc artifact instantly shot out, encircling Yifeng and Mo Ying in a ring. In this situation, even if they were to fly away with their swords, they would not be faster than these 5 blades. It's the lower-grade spiritual artifact, Mother-Child 5 Connected Blades, a set of linked artifacts that move freely and are extremely dangerous. Mo Ying recognized the set of spiritual artifacts and hurriedly warned them. She couldn't be sure if Yifeng could withstand these artifacts that were adept at breaking through defenses. After all, the last time she wielded the breeze-riding sword, she had been able to cut Yifeng's finger. "Oh, this little beauty knows quite a bit," the man with the mohawk said, laughing while holding a dagger that was a lower-grade spiritual artifact. The rest of the men also revealed their spiritual artifacts, a show of force that even a cultivator at the 9th layer of chi refinement might not be able to withstand. However, Yifeng did not panic. These people mistook him for a mortal, and he could use this to his advantage. "Big brother, should we wait for the stronghold master?" At that moment, the man with the mohawk asked in a low voice. "No need to wait. Let's destroy this little beauty's chi-si first. By the time he arrives, this little beauty will no longer belong to just us brothers," said the burly man referred to as Big Brother. He immediately activated the Mother-Child 5 connected blades. 5 glaring blades swept through the air, aiming at Mo Ying's chi-si and limbs. A clang sounded. The bandits saw the unassuming mortal throw a green object that instantly expanded into a huge green copper bell, blasting away the 5 blades. "How can a mortal use spiritual artifacts?" All 5 bandits showed disbelief on their faces. What shocked them even more was that Yifeng instantly crossed the distance of 10 meters, and with one punch, he sent the man called Big Brother flying. Clang, Mo Ying didn't hesitate either, utilizing a perfected first-grade spell, Glittering Sword Chi. She controlled the breeze-riding sword to pierce through the body of the bandit with the mohawk. After that, she used the major achievement-level first-grade spell Backstab, turning into a black smoke. And in the next instant, she appeared behind the 3rd bandit, catching the nearby breeze-riding sword and slashing fiercely. A tearing sound. The 3rd bandit died on the spot. The remaining 2 men were petrified just as they were about to make a move. Their big brother, 2nd brother, and 3rd brother were already down. This gave them the heart-pounding sensation of being robbed instead. "Run! Find the stronghold master to avenge us!" The 2 remaining men fled, but Yifeng had already thrown the spirit origin clock, crushing one of the bandits to death. As for the other, Mo Ying decapitated him with her sword. And so, all 5 bandits lay dead. With his previous experience near the lumber yard, Yifeng quickly looted the bodies, taking all their spiritual artifacts, but apart from that, there was nothing else, which somewhat frustrated him. When bandits go out to loot, besides the weapons they use, they do not carry much else, explained Mo Ying, as if she were a knowledgeable NPC in a newbie village. "No wonder they're so poor," Yifeng exclaimed in realization. However, obtaining 5 lower-grade spiritual artifacts was quite a nice haul. But the thought of an opposing stronghold master made Yifeng's head begin to ache. Just as they were about to burn the bodies of the 5 bandits, they noticed a middle-aged man emerging above the forest, with high cheekbones and sunken eyes. This person exuded a peak 9th layer chi refinement aura, clad in a black armor with a sword in one hand and a blade in the other, lavishly owning 3 lower-grade spiritual artifacts. He plunged down towards Yifeng and Mo Ying, gritting his teeth and saying, "Dare to kill the brothers of Ziguang's stronghold, you're asking for death." "Stop!" Above the Fenhuo River, a loud shout suddenly rang out, filled with strong fluctuations of spiritual energy. Everyone turned toward the source of the sound, only to see a flying boat that was 10 meters long and 3 meters wide, its entirety shimmering with spiritual light, floating more than 3 meters above the surface of the water and speeding towards them. Wherever it passed, even the river water surged into waves. Standing at the prow were 3 young cultivators dressed in cloud-white long robes, 2 men and 1 woman. They made no attempt to conceal their robust auras. Chi refinement 9th level, all of them were holding a lower-grade spirit sword in their hands, their eyes bright and their spines erect. They were unmistakably sect disciples. Ziguang's stronghold leader, your stronghold has just been flattened by the three of us, brothers and sister. Surrender now, shouted the youth in the lead with his starry eyes and sword-like eyebrows. Flatten Ziguang's stronghold. The Ziguang stronghold leader's eyes bulged, realizing that the flying boat had come exactly from Ziguang Mountain on the opposite side of the river. Could it be that, in the short time he was away, his entire stronghold had been destroyed? Shaking with anger, the Ziguang stronghold leader saw that these three were not to be trifled with, their approach fierce, and he turned and vanished into the dense forest, disappearing from sight. As the green hills last and the clear waters flow, you all wait for me. A voice filled with resentment echoed continuously in the forest, causing the three sect disciples to show faces full of anger as they shouted loudly, "Don't think of escaping!" Upon seeing this, Yifeng's expression turned ugly, and he felt somewhat frustrated. He clearly could have joined forces with Mo Ying to take down the Ziguang stronghold leader at the peak of Qi refinement 9th level, and then smoothly claim 3 lower-grade spiritual artifacts. However, with a single shout from these three, the Ziguang stronghold leader ran away without looking back. Yifeng felt incredibly vexed. Soon, the 3 sect disciples had arrived at the riverbank on the flying boat. The leader flashed a white token engraved with the words Ligun and said, "You two need not worry. We are Ligun inner sect disciples. My name is Xin Guangxuan. This is my junior brother Dong Qiang and junior sister Pang Heiyun. The one just now was the Ziguang stronghold leader, and we have driven him away." Had he not mentioned it, it would have been fine, but the words, "driven away," made Yifeng feel even more frustrated. He was about to berate Xin Guangxuan and his 2 companions furiously, when he suddenly noticed the Ligun on the token. Wasn't this from the Ligun sect thousands of miles away? That was a 1-star sect on par with the Qingyun sect, inhabited by numerous powerful beings at the element-gathering realm. A bit too strong to be provoked for the time being. Moreover, Xin Guangxuan had come with the intention of rescuing them, initially out of kindness, so Yifeng could only silently curse his bad luck. Besides, the Ziguang stronghold leader had only run away. They might encounter him again in the future. Thinking this, Yifeng gave a perfunctory bow and said, somewhat listlessly, "So you are disciples from the Ligun sect. Thanks for just now." Boom. At that moment, a loud bursting sound accompanied by someone's muffled groan came from a distance. "That sounds like the 3rd elder," exclaimed Xin Guangxuan, looking in the direction of the noise as he gripped his sword tightly. But before anyone could react, they saw an old figure with white hair and beard flying rapidly through the air and crashing down onto the sandy shore of the river like a meteor. "It's the 3rd elder." The 3 Ligun sect disciples hurried over to help up the old man, whose face was as pale as death. "It's the 3rd elder of the Ligun sect at the 2nd level of element gathering," whispered Mo Ying, standing beside Yifeng. "You know even this?" Yifeng said, surprised. At this time, the 3rd elder of the Ligun sect extended his hand, pointing weakly into the depths of the forest, and said, "The fanged mad pig is battling with the dual-winged giant crocodile. It's dangerous. Quick, get away." After speaking, the 3rd elder fell unconscious. "Elder, don't die on us." The small-eyed male disciple named Dong Qiang vigorously shook the 3rd elder, preparing to pinch his philtrum in hopes of reviving him. "Hey, stop shaking him. If you keep going, you might shake the life out of the elder," warned the round-faced, explosively curvy female disciple, Pang Heiyun, promptly pulling Dong Qiang away. The most composed and steady Xin Guangxuan immediately took out a dark red elixir and administered it to the 3rd elder, whose breathing gradually stabilized, but he remained unconscious. Unbeknownst to them, a shadow was slowly approaching underwater, 20 meters away from the shore. Mo Ying and Yifeng stood to one side, debating whether they should leave immediately, for if the fanged mad pig and the dual-winged giant crocodile were to fight their way over, they would be in trouble. Splash! Suddenly, a shadow burst from the water, lunging to bite the Ligun sect's 3rd elder, while a strong surge of demonic energy unleashed, overwhelming everyone present with a formidable sense of oppression. It's a black-patterned serpent demon. Looks like it's at the peak of the high-rank demon soldier level. No, it seems to have reached the transformation stage. Its power is far beyond the peak of the 9th layer of Qi refinement. The 3 Ligun sect disciples, well-trained, brandished their spirit swords and slashed at the black-patterned serpent demon. "Measly 3 at the peak of Qi refinement, scatter!" The black-patterned serpent demon scoffed, transforming into a half-snake, half-human form with a tail tougher than fine steel. and with a sweeping blow, it sent Xin Guangxuan and the other two disciples flying. Afterwards, the black-patterned serpent demon eyed the unconscious Li Yunsek's third elder, licking its lips involuntarily. That was a being comparable to a demon general, a strong practitioner of the human race at the element-gathering realm that had been heavily wounded in the fierce battle between the fanged mad pig and the dual-winged giant crocodile, yet whose vitality remained robust. Devouring him would allow it to ascend smoothly to the status of a demon general. With this thought, the black-patterned serpent demon bit toward the Li Yunsek's third elder. Meanwhile, its long tail swept out, trying to crush the obstructing Yi Feng and Mo Ying. "Be careful!" Xin Guangxuan, lying at a distance, shouted a warning, his hands forming seals, commanding his flying sword to lunge at high speed, only to be deflected by the black-patterned serpent demon. "It's over!" Xin Guangxuan's pupils contracted, thinking that Yi Feng and Mo Ying would be crushed by the snake demon. But the next moment, the black-patterned serpent demon found itself stuck less than half a meter from the Li Yunsek's third elder, inexplicably unable to move forward. It abruptly turned only to realize that its tail had been caught by Yi Feng, the mortal. "You practice body cultivation? Then I shall devour you first." The black-patterned serpent demon suddenly spun around, its hands transforming into serpent heads, biting at Yi Feng's shoulder. Clang! At that moment, Mo Ying, Xin Guangxuan, and the others simultaneously maneuvered their spirit swords to strike the black-patterned serpent demon, only to produce a few sparks. "It's so hard!" Xin Guangxuan could hardly believe it. He had practiced the sect's auxiliary cultivation method, the Li Yun technique, and his power exceeded that of ordinary peak qi refinement practitioners. Moreover, this strike was stronger than before, yet it couldn't even break through the black-patterned serpent demon's defense. Thump! At this moment, Yi Feng had already started smashing the black-patterned serpent demon against the ground. His actions were fast and fierce, with no trace of mercy. In moments, the area was littered with dozens of large pits, yet the black-patterned serpent demon was only dazed, not at all injured. This strong? So even if we hadn't made a move, this man could have taken care of the Ziguang stronghold leader. Is this the power of body cultivation? Xin Guangxuan and the other three disciples' eyes widened, and the female disciple Pang Heiyun's face turned red, deeming Yi Feng to be a true man. "I want you dead." The black-patterned serpent demon, consumed by rage from being pounded, reverted to its serpent demon form, releasing a terrifying demonic energy that burst forth like a storm, causing sand and dust to whirl wildly around them. As the strong wind and sand swept across, Mo Ying and the others were forced to retreat over a dozen steps. The third elder of the Li Yun sect even rolled on the ground a few times, spilling more thoroughly after hitting his forehead on a passing reef. "Elder," three disciples leaped forward, helped the third elder up, and quickly formed hand seals, releasing a spirit light shield in front to block the wind and sand. On the other side, the intense battle between Yi Feng and the black-patterned serpent demon had reached its climax. Hiss! The black-patterned serpent demon exhaled a noxious breath, trying to suffocate Yi Feng to death, then constrict his body, attempting to strangle him. But at the critical moment, Yi Feng summoned the spirit origin clock, and with a dong, smashed the black-patterned serpent demon's head, causing it to bleed and finally breaking its defense. "Such a powerful spiritual artifact," the black-patterned serpent demon exclaimed in shock. "Great opportunity!" Mo Ying controlled the breeze-riding sword, stabbing it into the wound of the black-patterned serpent demon. Xin Guangxuan, Dong Qiang, and Pang Heiyun, the three sect disciples, also reacted swiftly, thrusting their three spirit swords into the demon's wound simultaneously. "Damn it!" The black-patterned serpent demon swept the four swords away with its tail, shook its body, and escaped onto the river's surface, blood flowing from its head, looking ghastly. "It's still not dead." Dong Qiang stared, his small eyes filled with astonishment. "Although the outer skin of the black-patterned serpent demon is breached, its bones are still very solid. Lower-grade flying swords simply cannot penetrate them," Xin Guangxuan said gravely. "I have memorized your sense. Wait until I ascend to Demon General. I will make sure you pay." The black-patterned serpent demon transformed into a humanoid form with a serpent's tail, left behind a fierce threat, and immediately dived into the water, disappearing without a trace. Xin Guangxuan and the others heaved a sigh of relief, looking gratefully at Yi Feng as they clasped their hands and said, "Fellow Taoist, thank you for just now." After speaking, their faces turned somewhat red. especially when recalling how he had told Yifeng not to worry about the Ziguang stronghold leader in his presence previously. He felt extremely awkward and wished he could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. Cough, cough, it was nothing. Yifeng waved his hand dismissively. Roar. Suddenly, from the depths of the dense forest several miles away from the shore, the roar of the dual-winged giant crocodile and the fanged mad pig sounded, vibrating everyone's eardrums. Fellow Taoist, we are heading to Whitefloat City in the west. If it's on your way, perhaps you'd like to board our flying boat. Xin Guangshuan offered an invitation to Yifeng. Yifeng was about to refuse, but he noticed that due to the previous battle, his black veil bamboo hat had been shattered, revealing his face to the Liyun sect disciples. There was no longer a need to hide his identity. More importantly, taking the flying boat would also save him a few spirit stones in travel expenses. We are also heading to Whitefloat City. It's on our way. Yifeng jumped onto the flying boat, while Mo Ying followed silently without a word. Whoosh, the flying boat avoided the battle range of the two peaked demon generals and flew towards Whitefloat City at the fastest speed. Yifeng discovered that the speed of the flying boat was much faster than when standing on a flying sword. The key was being able to sit and drink tea comfortably. After some conversation, Yifeng learned that the third elder of the Liyun sect had received an invitation to bring Xin Guangshuan and the other 3 inner sect disciples to Whitefloat City to attend the demon-slaying conference. Upon arriving at Beacon Fire City, the third elder of the Liyun sect had then sent Xin Guangshuan and the others to eliminate nearby evil forces to practice their skills, hence their involvement in destroying Ziguang Stronghold's mountain head. As for the third elder, he was injured and fell into unconsciousness in an attempt to profit from a battle between the fanged mad pig and the dual-winged giant crocodile by sneaking up on them. By the way, I forgot to ask for your esteemed name and the sect you hail from, Xin Guangshuan asked with clasped hands. Yifeng, sect master of the Misty Sect, and this is Mo Ying, my 4th disciple, Yifeng replied. So your sect master Yi, my apologies for the oversight. After speaking, Xin Guangshuan and the other 2 Liyun sect disciples exchanged glances, finding themselves also puzzled. To the trio from the Liyun sect, Yifeng's strength seemed so formidable he must belong to a high-ranked sect. But they recalled there wasn't a high-ranked sect called Misty Sect around Whitefloat City. Could it be a recent addition? The 3 of them could only think this way. At this moment, Yifeng recalled the rebel Xiao Fangu, who had taken the Xuan Yi flying sword from the Misty Sect when he left. Yifeng had always remembered this incident, and thus he asked, "Do the 3 of you know about Qingyun Sect?" Of course we know it. Qingyun Sect is a 1-star sect located deep in the Qingyun mountain range. It's said that their auxiliary cultivation method is the green cloud sword technique, specializing in sword qi, which gives them a very high combat power. Pang Heiyun explained proactively, her voice as gentle as she was. Oh, I see. Yifeng suddenly understood. He figured out why Xiao Fangu had taken the Xuan Yi flying sword and fled. After all, the sect leader of Qingyun sect specialized in sword Dao, and not having a sword would not do. However, this was by no means a justification for Xiao Fangu to take away what rightly belonged to the Misty Sect's property. When my strength is about right, I'll go and take back the Xuan Yi flying sword, Yifeng thought to himself. Pang Heiyun asked with a smile, "Is there anything else you would like to ask, Sect Master Yi?" "How strong is the Qingyun sect?" Yifeng inquired. "It is said that they have 9 great elders, all in the element-gathering realm, and their real person sect master has reached the 6th level of the element-gathering realm. He is considered a top-tier power in our southern river basin," Pang Heiyun said. 10 element-gathering realm quite fierce." Yifeng's heart shuddered. Nevertheless, the sect master of Qingyun sect was only at the 6th level of the element-gathering realm, on the level of 40 or so brother flatheads, not as strong as the fanged mad pig or the dual-winged giant crocodile. Thinking of this, Yifeng felt confident again. Then, Yifeng continued with his indirect questioning, garnering a lot of information. For instance, to be promoted to a star-level sect. Besides the sect leader having to reach the 3rd level of the element-gathering realm, a certain number of spiritual artifacts were required, as well as foundational infrastructures such as an alchemy pavilion, artifact-refining pavilion, spirit beast pavilion, and sect protection array. It could be said that a 1-star sect was thoroughly equipped in every aspect, vastly surpassing that of a high-ranked sect, and the 2 were hardly comparable. After more than half an hour, the flying boat landed at the peak of Misty Peak. "Is this the Misty Sect?" Xin Guangxuan looked at the plaque hanging on the gate with Misty Sect, 3 large characters on it, noticing an old, willow, leaf-shaped mark in the lower right corner of the name. A lower-rank sect. A sect led by a sect leader capable of contending with a half-transformed, black-patterned serpent demon was merely considered lower rank. Xin Guangxuan and the other 2 disciples were stunned. In their view, the Misty Sect should at least be a high-ranked sect, if not a top-middle-rank sect. Yet it turned out to be lower rank. However, the 3 disciples felt no disdain in their hearts, as Yi Feng was their lifesaver. The sect leader has returned. At this time, Li Jiao came running out with Long Tianxing, her eyes full of surprise upon seeing the magnificent flying boat. These are disciples from Li Yun sect. The one lying down is their 3rd elder, who fell into unconsciousness due to certain events. Yi Feng introduced to his disciples. The 1-star sect Li Yun sect. The disciples of Misty Sect showed astonishment in their eyes. At this moment, the shape-shifting beast hidden far away, transformed into a large white ant, looked frustrated. It had tried countless methods, but each time it got close to the iron-clawed dragon eagle, it got swatted away by a wing. Now, seeing the 3rd elder of Li Yun sect lying unconscious on the flying boat, the shape-shifting beast's face suddenly changed. He's an element gathering realm cultivator. I must hurry back to inform others. The shape-shifting beast immediately turned into a small white bird and flew away into the distance. Yi Feng had not noticed the shape-shifting beast, but was looking in the direction of White Float City when he saw a familiar bald figure approaching on a flying bamboo raft and exclaimed in surprise, "Why has Steward Zhou Jiaqian come?" When Xin Guangxuan heard the voice, he also looked over and immediately waved to Zhou Jiaqian, saying, "Steward Zhou, long time no see." This scene made Yi Feng's expression freeze for a moment. From a distance, Zhou Jiaqian saw the flying vessel and was initially stunned, thinking to himself, when had the Misty Sect become so wealthy to buy a flying vessel priced over 600 spirit stones? The next moment, upon hearing Xin Guangxuan's voice, Zhou Jiaqian touched his bald head and muttered, "So it's the people from Li Yun sect that have arrived, but why would they be at Misty Sect?" Zhou Jiaqian sped up and soon arrived at the summit of Misty Peak. On seeing the renovated Misty Sect, he first praised them, then turned to Xin Guangxuan and bowed with clasped hands. "As expected of a talented disciple from the sect, you have surpassed me after 3 years of separation." Xin Guangxuan smiled. "Steward Zhou is being modest. How can I compare with you?" "You 2 know each other?" Yi Feng asked. Zhou Jiaqian nodded. 3 years ago, the 3rd elder of Li Yun sect came to White Float City with 5 disciples, and Xin Guangxuan was among them. However, at that time he was only at the 3rd level of qi refinement, but after 3 years, he's nearly reaching the element gathering realm. Xin Guangxuan just smiled and stayed quiet. "Right, if you're here, where is the leading 3rd elder?" Zhou Jiaqian looked around, and only upon catching a glimpse in the corner of his eye did he see the Li Yun sect 3rd elder lying on the flying vessel, causing his eyes to widen in shock. "What happened to the 3rd elder?" "On the way here, we encountered a fanged mad pig and a dual-winged giant crocodile, and the elder was unfortunately caught in the midst of it and suffered serious injuries." Xin Guangxuan explained with an odd expression. In fact, he knew the truth. The 3rd elder was not unfortunate to be caught in the midst, but tried to take advantage of the chaos. Not only did he fail to get anything out of it, but he was also seriously injured by 2 peak demon generals. He likely wouldn't be able to use his peak powers for a while. "Oh," Zhou Jiaqian was somewhat skeptical. "Anyway, why have you come to Sect Master Yi's place?" Upon hearing this, Xin Guangxuan promptly recounted the incident with the black-patterned serpent demon. Having heard that Yi Feng managed to fight on par with a demi-transformed demon beast, Zhou Jiaqian was dumbfounded. That was a demi-transformed demon beast, incredibly powerful. Normally, it would take several cultivators at the peak of the 9th level of qi refinement to contend with it. Yet, Yi Feng was enough by himself. Such strength was truly frightening. Before long, Zhou Jiaqian remembered his mission and hurriedly said to Yi Feng, "Sect Master Yi, the Deputy City Lord requests your presence." "The Deputy City Lord wants to see me?" Yi Feng was somewhat surprised. "Yes," Zhou Jiaqian nodded, turned to Xin Guangxuan and said, "Right, since the 3rd elder has already arrived, it's best to quickly take him to the City Lord's mansion for the Deputy City Lord to personally take care of him." "Okay," Xin Guangxuan said. A moment later, a group of people took the flying vessel towards White Float City. This time, Yi Feng noticed that the flying vessel did not stop in front of the East City Gate, but flew over the wall and landed directly in front of the grand and imposing complex at the city's center. On the plaque above the door, the three characters, City Lord's Mansion, were particularly eye-catching, and in the lower right corner of the text, there was a golden starburst symbol. This was the symbol of a one-star sect. As soon as they entered the grand hall, Yi Feng saw a person in ornate garments facing away from them. On bended knee, Zhou Jiaqian reported respectfully, "Your Honor, Deputy City Lord, Sect Master Yi from Misty Sect, the third elder of Liyun Sect, and Xin Guangshuan along with other Liyun inner sect disciples have all arrived." "Oh, Cousin 3 has arrived?" The Deputy City Lord turned around, revealing his true face. This was a middle-aged man with a dignified face and grizzled temples, emitting an aura of long-held authority, commanding respect without anger, especially those eyes as sharp as knives. However, his voice was very hoarse, as if he had contracted some strange illness. Upon seeing the third elder of the Liyun sect lying on the stretcher, the Deputy City Lord furrowed his thick eyebrows and hurried forward to check, confirming that the third elder was only unconscious and not in life-threatening danger. He then asked in a deep voice, "What happened?" A pressure belonging to the element-gathering realm spread out, and even Yi Feng felt a tremendous pressure. The Deputy City Lord could definitely take on 10 brother flatheads. Yi Feng thought to himself. Xin Guangshuan quickly clenched his fists in greeting and said, "Today, as I passed by the Faiyun gloomy forest on the south bank of the Fenyuo River, I encountered a fanged mad pig and a dual-winged giant crocodile." He compromised his conscience a bit, optimizing the story somewhat, of course. He also mentioned Yi Feng's act of saving people. Hearing this, the Deputy City Lord looked at Yi Feng in surprise. "I'd thought that Sect Master Yi was only unique in his teaching of spells, but to think you are a body cultivator. No, your physique is different from that of a body cultivator." Before the Deputy City Lord could finish speaking, Yi Feng felt as if he was being scanned from head to toe by a scanner, and a term quickly popped into his mind. Spiritual sense. This was a special power that could be born from the element-gathering realm, akin to the spell all-dimensional spiritual perception in their unique ways. When a cultivator ascended to the divine origin realm, the spiritual sense could transform into even stronger divine sense, allowing one to easily control a sword to kill enemies from thousands of miles away. You have a mortal body, but how can a mortal body possess such immense strength? The Deputy City Lord had completed his scouting of Yi Feng with spiritual sense and discovered that he indeed had a mortal body, his eyes immediately filling with doubt. Cough, cough. At this moment, the sleeping third elder of the Liyun sect coughed a few times and finally woke up. "A mortal body cannot possess such formidable strength. Perhaps he is the chosen one," the third elder said as he sat up straight with the support of Pang Heiyun. He was indeed unconscious, but that only meant his body couldn't move. His spiritual sense was still able to detect everything happening around him, and naturally, he remembered how Yi Feng had repelled the black-patterned serpent demon. "Chosen one?" Upon hearing this, everyone else showed surprised expressions, finding the term too unfamiliar. The so-called Chosen One is a special being blessed with the power of heaven and earth. Even without any cultivation level, they can exert strength far beyond that of an ordinary person. From my observations, Sect Master Yi is very similar to the rumored Chosen Ones, the third elder of the Liyun sect said weakly. "Chosen One? I'm definitely not that," Yi Feng complained inwardly. It was because of a system bug that all the strength was added to his body, and he had nothing to do with the Chosen Ones at all. "What? It turns out I am the Chosen One. No wonder I suddenly mastered such formidable strength. This is indeed miraculous," Yi Feng exclaimed in astonishment. Although he kept complaining to himself, he chose to pretend he was the Chosen One. After all, he had no cultivation, and he wasn't a body cultivator either, yet he possessed such domineering power which was bound to draw attention. Using Chosen One as cover couldn't be better. Sect Master Yi is very likely the Chosen One," the third elder of the Liyun sect nodded. "Third cousin, why would the Chosen One appear?" the Deputy City Lord asked with confusion. Zhou Jiaqian, Xin Guangshuan, and others all pricked up their ears, wanting to understand why the Chosen One appeared and what their mission might be. Even Yi Feng showed a look of curiosity. He wasn't pretending to be interested. He was genuinely intrigued. The causes for the Chosen One are numerous, and the most controversial theory is that the heavenly Tao selects the person. The third elder paused. But this notion simply doesn't hold water because the heavenly Tao is the epitome of impartiality. How could it possibly pick and choose among all living beings? The others heard this and nodded in agreement. The third elder continued. The most plausible explanation is that when a powerful being falls in a certain region, their indomitable spirit lingers in the world, leaving their will for a destined successor to inherit. Upon hearing this, the others felt that this theory was more reasonable and credible. When Yifeng heard this, he was taken aback. This sounds somewhat similar to the strength accumulation of the dog system. It must be a coincidence, right? Yifeng thought to himself. At that moment, everyone turned their gaze towards Yifeng. The deputy city lord then said, "Perhaps it's the unreconciled heroic spirits of those who have fallen in battle over the years in Whitefloat City, whose powers remain in the world and have at last chosen Sect Master Yi." After resting a bit, the third elder was able to stand and said, "Now, just in time for the demon-slaying convention, these resolute spirits have chosen Sect Master Yi at this critical juncture. This signifies that Sect Master Yi will play a pivotal role at the demon-slaying convention." Upon hearing this, Yifeng felt doubtful. He was not the chosen one, thus had no connection with the demon-slaying convention whatsoever. But he couldn't well argue against it, so he just asked, "I heard from Steward Joe earlier that the deputy city lord wanted to meet with me. Is it related to the demon-slaying convention? And by the way, what is the demon-slaying convention?" "Word has it that Sect Master Yi is a great master of magic in teaching spells. Hence I called you here to discuss a potential collaboration." The deputy city lord took a seat and continued. "As for the demon-slaying convention, it is a grand festival, counted within the Southern River Basin as a major event that is rare even in a decade." Hearing this, Yifeng's expression shifted slightly. The Southern Domain, loosely referred to as the Southern River Basin, is named after the Southern River, the lifeline of the Mystique Kingdom, which spans 50,000 li from east to west and 30,000 li from north to south. The region is vast and abundant with resources. The fact that the demon-slaying convention was considered a major event in the Southern Domain implied that it was truly grand. But now Yifeng was more curious about the collaboration mentioned by the deputy city lord and inquired, "What kind of cooperation is the deputy city lord referring to?" "Have you heard of the Black Armored Guard?" the deputy city lord asked with a smile barely concealing a smirk. "I'd like to invite you to be the spell-instructing master for the Black Armored Guard, specifically to guide them in spell cultivation." Yifeng was taken aback upon hearing this. Although he was jokingly called a great master of magic, he actually knew only 9 spells, and definitely couldn't teach exclusive spells like all-dimensional spiritual perception to outsiders. The deputy city lord kept speaking. 100 lower-rank spirit stones a month. In addition, Sect Master Yi can freely browse the first-grade spells in the city lord's mansion, and you don't even have to come every day. As long as the Black Armored Guard truly improves, it won't be a problem if Sect Master Yi shows up just once a month. Isn't this like having a flexible work arrangement with a fixed salary? This thought popped into Yifeng's head. He was somewhat tempted, not by the 100 spirit stones, but by the chance to browse the first-grade spells in the city lord's mansion, which contained significant value. More importantly, after teaching the Black Armored Guard, the sect's prestige value should increase substantially. Somewhat interested, Yifeng asked, "What kind of spells do I need to teach? Is there a specific requirement? Defense, offense, and movement?" The deputy city lord replied, "Any of these 3 types will do. I am willing to teach, but I won't do it indefinitely. Perhaps I will focus on teaching just once a month." Yifeng laid out his personal terms. "That's acceptable," the deputy city lord agreed readily. Noticing that dusk was approaching, he added, "It's getting late. Let's have a banquet at the city lord's mansion. As for the specifics of instructing the Black Armored Guard, Deputy Commander Joe will follow up with Sect Master Yi later." A moment later, at the dining hall of the city lord's mansion, Yifeng, the deputy city lord, Steward Joe, Deputy Commander Joe, the 3 elders of Liyun sect, Xin Guangshuan, and 3 other disciples gathered around a table, enjoying the unique delicacies of the city lord's mansion. All of these are lower-ranked demon soldier-level wild boar and beef, along with some vegetables cultivated with spiritual liquid. Is this the living standard of an element gathering realm powerhouse? Yifeng looked at the dishes on the table and really wanted to prepare a similar feast for the disciples of the Misty sect. "This time we owe our lives to Sect Master Yi. Otherwise, I would have been buried in the belly of a snake by now." said the third elder of Li Yun sect, raising his cup in gratitude. Afterward, he placed a small wooden box and a cloud-white token on the table. This is a lower-grade consolidating origin pill and our sect's guest elder token, my gifts of appreciation to Sect Master Yi. Additionally, I can grant Sect Master Yi a request, as long as it is within my power to do so. Consolidating origin pill? Xin Guangshuan, Steward Zhou, Deputy Commander Zhou, and other cultivators at the 9th level of Qi refinement looked on with envy. When you're breaking through to the element-gathering realm, the consolidating origin pill is a great aid. A single elixir is worth more than 100 spirit stones, said Xin Guangshuan. Yifeng glanced at the consolidating origin pill and remembered that the reward for the first stage of the sect leader's mission seemed to include 10 lower-grade consolidating origin pills. Wasn't that worth thousands of spirit stones? You're too kind, third elder? Although excited inside, Yifeng still collected the consolidating origin pill and the guest elder token with feigned calmness. The third elder was the deputy city lord's cousin, thus the deputy city lord didn't skimp either, presenting Yifeng with a bottle containing 5 middle-grade cultivation qi pills. For the remainder of the meal, the atmosphere at the table was very harmonious. As the third elder of Li Yun sect talked about the beast hunting conference, Yifeng listened on the side, gathering quite a bit of information. The so-called beast hunting conference is an event hosted by a spirit sea realm commandery prince from the southern river basin, happening once every 10 years for the main conference and once every 3 years for the smaller gatherings. This year coincided with both the smaller and the main conference, making it a particularly grand occasion. However, the location of the decennial beast hunting conference wasn't in Whitefloat City, but in County King City. As for the smaller gatherings, they were generally hosted in each one-star city to select the sects with excellent performance, ultimately recommended by the city lord to attend the main event in County King City. This time, the third elder of Li Yun sect was the host of Whitefloat City's beast hunting conference. As for how things would unfold after, it remained a secret, not revealed by the third elder at the table. By the time Yifeng left the city lord's mansion, it was already night, and Whitefloat City seemed very lively. Yifeng walked along the streets. Originally, Xin Guangshuan was supposed to accompany Yifeng back to Misty Peak, but to buy some treats for the disciples, Yifeng went to the street alone, planning to buy some goods before returning to the Misty sect via flying boat. On the street, Yifeng gazed at the dazzling array of goods, took out 2 strings of copper coins, and bought over a dozen kinds of delicacies his disciples loved the most. Roast lamb legs, lamb spine, spicy strips, among others. Then bought a few sets of clothes before taking a shortcut back to the city lord's mansion. He had arranged to meet Xin Guangshuan at the gate of the city lord's mansion. But just as Yifeng reached a less crowded alley, he felt something off, as if someone were following him, invoking a sense of discomfort. Am I being watched? Yifeng inwardly felt uneasy and quickened his pace. At this time, in a cave hundreds of miles away from Whitefloat City, the little wolf general looked at a white bird flapping its wings as it flew in, and his expression showed a hint of surprise. Little wolf general, something terrible has happened. The shape-shifting beast had just entered the cave when it immediately began to shout in panic. Didn't I tell you to go and sway those spiritual beasts? Little wolf general's face showed some displeasure. The shape-shifting beast shivered and said, I was originally working on swaying the spiritual beasts of the Misty sect, but then I saw an element-gathering realm powerhouse from the human race. What? Little wolf general struggled to maintain his composure. The element-gathering realm? Could it be that Lord Demon General's plan had been discovered? Little wolf general need not worry. That element-gathering realm powerhouse is gravely injured and unconscious. Even if he wakes up, it will take quite a while before he can exert his full strength, the shape-shifting beast quickly added. Did you find out what he's all about? Little wolf general asked. Not daring to conceal anything, the shape-shifting beast divulged the information it had gathered. It's the third elder of the Li Yun sect, along with 3 inner sect disciples at the 9th level of Qi refinement. They're all tough to handle. Li Yun sect, it seems they've come for the demon-slaying conference, which will definitely affect Lord Demon General's plan. Little Wolf General's expression turned gloomy. You continue to lurk around the Misty sect. Report back immediately if there's any important news. Yes. The shape-shifting beast turned around and flew towards Misty Peak, inside Whitefloat City. Yifeng was walking down a deserted street. Just now, after perceiving he was being tracked by something, Yifeng used crisis awareness to foresee a bit and realized there didn't seem to be any disaster befalling the Misty sect, so he calmed down. Moreover, with his exceptional skills and bravery, he deliberately came to this abandoned street, planning to lure out his stalker. Giggle, giggle. The moment Yifeng reached the middle of the street, seductive, flirtatious laughter that made one's body tingle sounded around him. A warm breeze blew in, carrying the scent of a woman. Even the surroundings began to change. The previously dim street was suddenly lined with blossoming peach trees. At the end of the street, several sultry Jezebels were slowly approaching, their bodies swaying sensuously. "My lord, come here." One of the women, wearing a fox face mask, plucked at her pipa, pouring out her affection towards Yifeng. "Demon fox," Yifeng blinked. "Oh, how can you be so rude to call me by my title, my lord? You should call me Zaire O Tiantian," the demon fox giggled. "To hell with Lady Niu." Yifeng leaped up, aiming a slap at those sultry Jezebels. His palm passed right through them. A bang shattered the pavement beneath, and the peach trees and beauties all dissipated as if they were merely illusions. Following his instincts, Yifeng looked towards a corner to see a shivering, red-haired fox. "Ow!" The demon fox turned and leaped onto a rooftop, fleeing rapidly. Yifeng also noticed several more odd little demon creatures appearing and running away with the demon fox. "Ah, so it's a group act." Yifeng chased after them. Before long, the creatures rushed into an ancient, deserted bookstore and then vanished. Yifeng discovered that the bookstore was in disrepair. Only a few cluttered bookshelves remained, holding many old texts that were mostly illegible, uncared for who knows how long. Whoosh! Suddenly, the sound of rapid page flipping echoed in the bookstore. Yifeng surveyed his surroundings and saw 5 pieces of paper flying out from the ancient books, encircling him. Yifeng focused his gaze and discovered that each piece of paper depicted a warrior in armor, holding a small axe in each hand. "Paper warrior general, transform!" A coy voice echoed from all directions. Following that, 5 streams of spiritual energy poured into the 5 pieces of paper. The warriors inside suddenly grew in size, bursting through and igniting the paper. Snap! 5 paper warrior generals, 1 foot tall, landed on the ground and swung their little axes at Yifeng. "What's this rubbish, only a foot tall? Are they going to jump up and chop at my knees?" Yifeng blinked. Hearing the name Paper Warrior General, Yifeng had thought this was a spell capable of summoning element gathering realm powerhouses. But those Paper Warrior Generals turned out to be so tiny and appeared fragile. Ding! Yifeng stretched out a finger and pressed it against the head of one Paper Warrior General. It flailed its double-bladed axe wildly but couldn't touch him. "Our spiritual energy isn't sufficient. A single Paper Warrior General is too weak. Quick, combine." All right, all right." A flurry of hurried conversations erupted around the bookstore, sounding like several little brats. "War Generals, combine." The next moment, a few little demons chanted an incantation. Yifeng watched with interest as the 5 Paper Warrior Generals stacked up like R-hats, and then a puff of white fog emerged from beneath their feet, obscuring the view. When the white fog dissipated, Yifeng saw a Paper Warrior General standing before him, 1 meter tall and looking much more robust than before, seemingly with the cultivation level of the Qi Refinement's 6th layer peak. "Ha ha ha, our Paper Warrior General has combined, unmatched in power. You're in for it now." The little demon's triumphant laughter came from around the bookstore. "Oh, is that so?" Yifeng chuckled. Facing the descending axe of the Paper Warrior General, he simply extended 2 fingers and easily pinched it. "Ah, that's impossible!" The little demons exclaimed in shock, but Yifeng shook his head and with a flick of his wrist, shattered the Paper Warrior General to pieces, which then dissipated into mist. "This spell is somewhat interesting." Yifeng narrowed his eyes and turned to look around. He spotted a red fox tail under a bookshelf and pulled it out. "Eek, eek, eek!" The red-haired fox dangled in midair, showing a human-like expression of terror with its 4 little paws flailing as if running. "Do you intend to swipe away the air around to suffocate me?" Yifeng joked. "Great immortals, spare my life. I can warm your bed for you." The little red-haired fox pleaded urgently, squeezing out 2 tears and looking pitifully adorable. Using his spirit eyes, Yifeng checked and found that the little fox's cultivation was average, at most a middle-rank demon soldier. Surprisingly, it could speak human language, which was quite strange. "Where are your accomplices?" Yifeng shook the little fox. Thump, 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 a rapid succession of footsteps sounded and 4 petite figures appeared. A haba dog, a large toad, a pumpkin-shaped demon beast with hands and feet, and a chubby little pig, none taller than a foot. Great immortal, please spare our big sister. The four little demons lay on the ground, incessantly kowtowing, all able to speak human language, astonishing Yi Feng. You all are merely lower rank and middle rank demon soldiers, with the strongest among you barely at the Chi refinement 4th layer level. Why can you all speak human language? Yi Feng squatted down, pinched the little pig's ear, and asked. We, the White Float 5 immortals, were born able to speak, said the little pig, its voice adorably milky. Wait a minute, White Float 5 immortals. Yi Feng was tickled. None of you have reached the element-gathering realm, yet you dare to call yourselves immortals. By the way, where did you get that spell you used just now? The 5 little monsters looked at one another. Ultimately, the haba dog asked, Great immortal, if we tell you the spell, can you spare our little lives of White Float 5 immortals? That will depend on whether the results are satisfying. Yi Feng's smile gradually turned sly. The White Float 5 immortals immediately looked distressed. The spell doesn't have a specific grade, it's a secret technique named Paper Warrior. We learned it in this bookstore. The red-haired fox, as the boss, took the initiative to confess. Where's the ancient tome? Yi Feng asked. He wanted to take the Paper Warrior, ancient tome back to the Misty Sect, so once the disciples reached beginner level, he could instantaneously comprehend it to the perfect stage. We burned it ourselves. The red-haired fox hurriedly added, fearing Yi Feng wouldn't believe her. The secret technique was originally in fragments, and after we mastered it, the fragments burned themselves. Yes, yes, the other little monsters nodded repeatedly. Seeing that they didn't seem to be lying, Yi Feng was somewhat speechless. Without the ancient tome, how could he have his disciples practice? Right, if I recruit these little monsters into the Spirit Beast Pavilion, can I comprehend the spells they master? Yi Feng quickly inquired with the system. When a spiritual beast or disciple has minor achievement in a certain spell, the sect leader can benefit, the system explained. Hearing this, Yi Feng calmed down and looked at the White Float 5 immortals. Why were you guys following me just now? The 5 little monsters were about to speak, but their stomachs rumbled loudly instead. Aha, I get it now. Yi Feng took out a fragrant roasted lamb leg from the system's space and swayed it back and forth in front of the White Float 5 immortals, causing their eyes to follow and their saliva to flow onto the ground. Great immortal, give us a bite to eat, please. Yes, if we weren't starving, we wouldn't have listened to the strategist and launched an illusion attack on you. Woof woof. White Float 5 immortals were already defeated by hunger, each confessing and showing human-like expressions of embarrassment, fear, and helplessness on their faces. You have a strategist? Who is it? Yi Feng was surprised, feeling that the White Float 5 immortals were quite organized. Of course, the coordination they showed earlier was also telling. No wonder they had managed to hide in White Float City for so long. That one! All 4 little monsters pointed at the innocent-looking haba dog, who, for the sake of the large and fragrant roasted lamb leg, was directly sold out by them. Dog-head strategist? Yi Feng couldn't help but burst out laughing. All right then, this roasted lamb leg is for you guys. With that, Yi Feng let go. The big lamb leg fell down, and the White Float 5 immortals immediately caught the leg, which was almost as big as themselves, their eyes filled with surprise. Having eaten my food, you are now my monsters. From now on, you'll mix with me. Do you agree? Yi Feng inquired. Can we eat roasted lamb legs every day? The red-haired fox blinked her watery big eyes and asked. I want to eat buns, the dog-head strategist raised a paw. I want to play with pretty sisters. The little fat pig swished its short tail and grunted. Croak, 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 the big toad croaked 3 times. I want a patch of vegetable garden to plant myself in to grow quickly, said the pumpkin monster. Listening to the White Float 5 immortals' increasingly outlandish requests, Yi Feng couldn't help but lean back tactically, his eyes narrowing slightly, thinking to himself that if they kept making such bizarre demands, he would soon stew them in a pot. Agreed. However, for the secret technique Paper Warrior General, Yi Feng agreed to the request of the White Float 5 immortals. Watching them gather to feast on roasted lamb legs, Yi Feng simply took out buns, pickled vegetables, lamb spines, roasted meat, and more, setting up a table and enjoying the meal thoroughly. Seizing the opportunity, Yi Feng inquired about the origins of the White Float 5 immortals. It turned out that ever since they had gained sentience, they had been living in this deserted old street, fought a few battles among themselves, found no victor, then had sworn brotherhood under the moon and proclaimed themselves the White Float 5 immortals. Since the White Float 5 immortals could speak the human tongue and had learned paper warrior general. They would frequently dress the combined paper warrior generals in clothes and have it go out to the streets pretending to be a child to deceive others for food and drinks. In this way, the White Float 5 immortals survived to this day. Until this night, when they saw Yi Feng buying all sorts of delicious foods, they developed evil intentions, leading to the events that followed. "All right, you're all full now. I'll temporarily store you in a spiritual artifact and release you when I return to the Misty Sect," said Yi Feng as he took out the spirit origin clock and collected all of the White Float 5 immortals into it. Next, he rummaged through the bookstore but found nothing of value, so he performed a dramatic escape through the door, only dropping the door plank once he reached the street. It was nearing midnight, the moonlight as serene as water. The surrounding silence made Yi Feng a bit uneasy. Resting his hands behind his head, he prepared to head toward the city lord's mansion, but noticed another shadow on the ground. Yi Feng's pupils contracted as he looked up at the rooftop. A figure in black stood on the ridge of the roof, arms crossed, with only a pair of sharp, knife-like eyes revealed. Yi Feng asked, "Who are you?" "Hand over those little monsters and I'll spare your life," the figure in black replied hoarsely, evidently disguising their voice to avoid being recognized. "They are mine," Yi Feng stated. "Then prepare to die." The figure in black leaped down, pulling out their gleaming longsword from their waist, and unleashed a bright blade light that stretched for 5 meters. "It's the ground slash." Yi Feng recognized this first-grade spell that had reached the perfect stage. He remembered that a few days ago at the Zhou family banquet, Deputy Commander Zhou Jiakai had used this spell, cleaving the vines of the centennial tree demon with its immense power. "Are you Zhou Jiakai?" Yi Feng exclaimed, his feet stamping hard on the ground as he dodged the strike. Boom! The ground was split open by a trench half a meter deep with stones flying everywhere. Taking the opportunity, Yi Feng stomped on the ground again and shot up like a flying sword, tore off the black-clothed person's mask, and saw a completely unfamiliar face. "You're not Zhou Jiakai. Who exactly are you?" Yi Feng, hovering in midair, spun around sharply and pointed at the figure in black, demanding an answer. But the figure in black did not respond, instead jumping to a higher place and unleashing another ground slash. As Yi Feng was in the air with nowhere to leverage himself, he could only cross his arms in front to block the approaching blade light, which cut into his arms and threw him to the ground with force. A cut appeared on Yi Feng's arm, and although it bled, it didn't even slice through the true skin. Perhaps if he fought a bit longer with the black-clothed person, the wound might even heal on its own. How is this possible? The black-clothed person was shocked, as the scenario they imagined of Yi Feng being split in half by a single strike did not occur, leaving only a superficial injury. "Now's my chance." Yi Feng had waited for this moment and quickly hurled the teacup-sized spirit origin clock. The black-clothed person couldn't dodge in time and had to use the spirit blade longsword to block, then was sent flying and let out the sound of bones breaking. The black-clothed person tumbled to the ground, didn't even care for their chipped spirit blade longsword, and ran off, stumbling and rolling. "Where do you think you're going?" Yi Feng wasn't about to leave lingering troubles, so he picked up the spirit origin clock and gave chase.